I look forward to having you join my outer heaven when it becomes reality. Sincerely. Gray Fox of the Leaf. Should I trust him? Is this a trick? Thought Fu, as she would have to do some discreet research on Gray Fox to see if some of the information in the letter was true. Iwa at the moment. Iwa's own Jinchuriki Han and Roshi were in their apartment complex that they shared, eating a meal they had acquired through the means of hunting, since none of the shops in Iwa's market would sell them much. Only on the orders of the Chuchakej himself could the two get anything, and even then, what they took was watched by several Ambu. We should leave, Iwa soon, Han. This place won't miss us, and we need to go someplace where we can master our demonic powers, said Roshi, while eating his meal, while Han just nodded. Unfortunately, there is no safe place for people like us, Rashi. Even if we did leave, Iwa would never let us join another village and hunt us down to make sure we never did, said Han, knowing the Tsuchikage had made sure they were always on a tight leash, and that to simply breathe the air around them for free was mercy enough. There was a knock at the door, which Han had decided to answer since his tall presence always prevented the shinobi on the other side from making snide remarks, and just do their job. Case in point, when the Chunin on the other side, newly minted Chunin from the look of fear in the man's eyes, had just handed Han the letter, and quickly left without a word. "What is it?" said Roshi, seeing Han frown at the letter in his hand. "It's a letter. It's addressed to the two of us," said Han before opening it carefully when he didn't sense any kind of seal on the envelope that would cause it to explode. "Dear Han and Roshi of Iwa, my name is Gray Fox. For reason of security, I cannot go into much about myself, as Iwa is not so kind when it pertains to your mail, and had to take measures to ensure this letter reached you. Before this reached you, I put a genjutsu on it to make it seem like your usual hate mail from the villagers, so the Chuchakage would let it reach you, and be read by either one of my fellow Jinchuriki. That's right, I am one of you, my fellow kin, who know of the burden I share, and understand what it means to be hated by the fools of our village. It's unfair. It's unjust. It needs to stop. We are the pointy tip of the sword of our village, and yet they treat us like we're lower than the crap that comes out of a horse. Recently, I've been able to place myself into a position where I can change the status quo, not just for myself, but for all of my fellow Jinchuriki, and offer them a place of refuge from the abuse of the world. To grow, flourish, and live the life we should have from the start. I offer you both a chance to leave Iwa and join me in the creation of the dream that is outer heaven. I look forward to hearing from you, my brothers. Sincerely, Gray Fox of the Leaf. P. Ew. I don't know if you have any hatred for the Leaf after what happened in the last war, but no, I don't when it comes to Iwa, and wish us to start with a clean slate on all sides. What do you think? Is this for real? Said Rashi, reading the letter himself, and looking at Han reading the newest bingo book acquired just yesterday. Maybe. Read this page, said Han, handing the book to Roshi, and the bearded man saw it before his eyes widened. Name, Gray Fox. Cake, Uzumaki. Naruto, Naruto. Status, mercenary. Currently employed to the Leaf under contract. Parents, father is Namikaze Minato. A yellow flash of Konoha and Yondaime, Hawkage of the Leaf. Mother is Uzumaki Kushina of Whirlpool. Rank, unknown, never specified, suspected to be at least a rank. Known senseis, Hataka Kakashi. Known kills, Sound 4. Yakushi Kabuto, Orochimaru of the Sannin, Kazahana Dodo of Snow Country. Side notes, the boy is the QB Jinchuriki yet doesn't use its power in battle. Either he doesn't know how to use its demonic chakra or doesn't rely on it for fighting. Is rumored to possess an optical bloodline behind one of his eyes. Unknown if it's one or both, due to the eye patch covering the eye is never consistent. Also wears some kind of metallic suit never before seen, and suspected to be some kind of bloodline after rumors speak of it retracting into his skin. Approach with extreme caution. Next to the description of Gray Fox was a picture of the boy with his sword out, wearing a trench coat and in his metallic sneak suit with the eye patch on the left eye. "He's the son of the Yondaime," said Roshi in surprise. "Yes, and yet he's a Jinchuriki like us. Something must have happened to make the boy be a mercenary rather than a full-fledged shinobi of the leaf," said Han, seeing Roshi nod in agreement. "Abused? Like us?" said Roshi with Han nodding. "It makes sense, the way he describes himself in the letter. The way he talks about us in the letter. It all fits. The boy's list of kills may not be many, but each one of them were considered powerful and skilled in their own right," said Han while looking at Iwa from the window, and deep in thought. "You're considering his offer, aren't you?" said Roshi, seeing Han look back at him. "And you're not," said Han, seeing Roshi sigh and run a hand through his red hair. "I would be lying if I said I like it here. I hate it here. Still, the offer to live in a place where hatred for what we are does not exist. I would think it was gift given from Kami himself," said Roshi before looking at the letter again. "With a name like Outer Heaven. It just might be," said Han while seriously considering the offer now with Roshi doing the same. Kumo at the moment. "Killer! Bee's in the house!" "Male call for the cat that's shy like a mouse," said Killer Bee while handing a letter to the blonde female Jinchuriki holding the two-tailed Nibi. "Baka! I'm not shy and I'm not a mouse," said Yugito, grabbing the letter and opened it after kicking Killer Bee out of her home. "Dear Nasiu, Yugito of Kumo. My name is Gray Fox. I am a mercenary currently employed by the Leaf. I know you are not hated in your village, but at the same time are not loved by them either, and have had to face your fair share of abuse. I know some of the people there would sooner celebrate the day of your death than mourn it. The same can be said for myself. However, I intend to change that, and offering you a way out by joining me along with those like you to my sanctuary. A place for abused people like us. Yes, I said us. I am like you, Nui Yugito. I am the nine-tailed Jinchuriki, and like you, I too was hated by my village. The only reason I serve them now is a means to an end for fulfilling a vision where people abused for what we are can be free from it. I know the Raikage's younger brother is a Jinchuriki too, but I know blood is thicker than water, and he may not wish to join us. That's his choice. It will always be a choice for him just like it is for you. I await your response and hope to meet you one day in the forging of Outer Heaven. Sincerely, Gray Fox of the Leaf." "What do you think, Nibi? Is it genuine?" thought Yugito while looking at the letter again. "Hard to say. It is something to look into," said Nibi while looking at the letter through Yugito's eyes. "I'll look into this guy and see if he checks out," thought Yugito, knowing there were ways to gather information regarding the person behind this offer. Naruto inwardly swore at his failure to reach two Jinchuriki and bring them into the fold of his dream. The Mizukage of Mist, who was also a Jinchuriki by the name of Yagura, had been slain earlier this month, and was replaced by a woman with red hair named Terumi Mei. She was currently busy fixing what was broken within the Mist Village, and to say it was just a mess was an understatement. The other Jinchuriki of Mist had gone rogue before that, and was in hiding to the point where Naruto doubted even Jiraiya's spy network could find the man. There was even the question of whether the man was even alive or captured by the Akatsuki before having his demon extracted. Two of my kin are lost for the moment, one dead and the other missing. Possibly dead or soon will be. Kyuubi, what happens to the tailed beasts when a Jinchuriki dies? Thought Naruto to the Kyuubi with the demon looking at him in his mind. My fellow tailed beasts do not manifest themselves for a few years after the life of their vessel is extinguished. In 3 years' time the three tails will return, and rule to seas once more, said Kyuubi, seeing Naruto nod in thought. Is the three tails hostile in general? Or will he speak to those that show civility? Thought Naruto, seeing the fox raise an eyebrow at him. He has a short temper, but the three tails will speak to those that only wish to talk, and not fight him just for power. Why? Said Kyuubi, seeing the boy smile at him. Outer Heaven will be a large island while still being close to the mainland. However, it could use a guardian to protect it from the sea itself, and I think the three-tailed demon would fit that job description nicely, thought Naruto, seeing Kyuubi was shocked by this news. The three-tails likes being free. All of us like being free, but him most of all due to the water being its home, and asked to serve another, said Kyuubi, seeing Naruto nod. I won't ask the three-tails to do something it doesn't want to. I'll simply offer him the job, and if he says no, then that will be that, thought Naruto, seeing Kyuubi was shocked. That's it. You won't fight him over it. If the three-tails says no, you'll simply leave him alone and never bring it up again, said Kyuubi, wondering if his vessel had gone mad. There's no point in forcing the idea on someone who doesn't want the job, Kyuubi, and if I did, I'd just become a hypocrite for my troubles. It's about choice. It's always been about choice, thought Naruto, seeing Kyuubi having some form of respect for its vessel's belief in the matter. The fox also believed the three-tails would feel the same way and possibly join the boy just for that. He just might pull this off after all, thought Kyuubi, knowing this kid was doing the impossible at the moment. Chapter 6. Birth of Heaven. It took 3 long years, but they had finally gathered together in a single room and stood around a circular table staring at one another. For the first time in known history of the elemental countries, they had all gathered at a single location, and now stared at each of their fellow Jinchuriki. Each individual standing at this table were assigned their place, as it pertained to the number of tails their demon had, and eyeing the other while looking for deception that they may have been hiding in, only coming here to set up some kind of ambush with their village backing them up. In all the years since Jinchuriki have existed, we have never gathered like this before at one place, and all for a single purpose each of us has craved since our childhoods, said Han, with Roshi next to him eyeing the others carefully. Not all of us are here. Our 2 brethren from Mist Village are lost to us, and for different reasons, said Yugito sadly, while seeing the empty spaces where they should be located. Yes. We can thank the Akatsuki for one of them being killed, said Roshi angrily, as he was hating the organization more and more with each passing day. The other was the Mizukage of the Mist, right? How did he die? Said Fu, while being a bit shy around so many Jinchuriki that could give her a run for her money. The rebellion against him won out. His demon will manifest itself in a few years. When that happens, I will ask the three-tails to join us in being our guardian of our waters and main defender of outer heaven from the seas, said Naruto, having stepped out from the shadows towards the round table, where the others, where Jinchuriki like himself, were standing. His current appearance was much different than that of the bingo book this time, as he wore forest camouflage pants, combat boots, shirt of similar design, and a tan-colored trench coat that hid his metallic armor. The Namikaze's hair was not spiky this time, but slicked back. The eye patch was on his left eye, and hands behind his back. When they saw Naruto, the other Jinchuriki had a sudden urge to stand at attention and give him a military salute. Ocelot had mentally joked that Naruto was the spitting image of Big Boss when he was looking himself in the mirror. It's good to see you again. Namikaze Naruto, said Gaara before bowing his head slightly at him. Likewise, Sabaku no Gaara. I take it from the fact you're here, Tamari has taken over Suna in being the Kazekage, and you have left your village for good, said Naruto, seeing Gaara nodding his head. Yes. She has, and I have. Effective immediately, my sister has been correcting the mistakes my father made, and making the people realize how foolish they were to treat me with such hate. Tamari will help Suna become our most useful ally in the future, said Gaara, while Naruto nodded and looked at the others. And the rest of you? I know for a fact the 2 of you from Kumo were treated all right in your village, and yet here you are standing before the rest of us, said Naruto, while looking at Yugito and Killer Bee. I won't deny our time in Kumo is probably paradise compared to what you and all the other Jinchuriki here went through. However, it doesn't mean we won't leave for a life away from being the tools of our village and reach for the chance to do something more with our lives, said Yugito, with Killer Bee nod in agreement with her. Kitty is right, 9. We only want to live a life being fine, said Killer Bee, while Yugito hissed at him for calling her Kitty. I understand. I think. What about the rest of you? Are you willing to join Outer Heaven knowing what this will mean? It won't be easy at first, and there is a lot of work to do in bringing back Whirlpool Country to its former glory, with the villages no doubt being upset at us leaving. Not to mention the Akatsuki organization, and the need for other members outside of ourselves for people treated like us, said Naruto, seeing them nod, knowing this was the path they chose. They've been picking us off one by one. Let's see how they handle all of us together, said Han, with Roshi nodding. I say we shake things up a bit, said Fu, with determination in her voice. That's the spirit. Now, I don't need to tell you how the chain of command is going to work here, and that I will be the leader of this group. Any objections? Said Naruto, while the others shook their heads no. You know what you're doing, Namikaze-sama. There is no reason to change the status quo, said Roshi, with Han nodding in agreement. What's next step in the plan? Said Gaara, seeing Naruto throw a bingo book onto the table with it open, and showing the highlighted page he marked concerning missing. Nin! The next step. Funding and recruitment, said Naruto, seeing them nod before passing the book around for them to look at each potential candidate or target. You said there were a few people in the Leaf willing to join, said Yugito while looking over the book handed to her by Gaara. Yes. Mitarashi Anko is a special Junin and second in command of the village's I department. Her life was hell like mine. If given the chance, she'll leave the Leaf and join up with us to get away from the hatred for her that even now hasn't left Konoha. Several members of the Aburame clan feel persecuted there too, and wish to relocate here to grow a secondary clan here, while still keeping ties to their main clan in the Leaf. I have spoken to Hyuga Hayashi, and he feels a secondary Hyuga clan, not bound by the old ways, is vital for the future of the bloodline, and given his blessing in letting his eldest daughter join us here, said Naruto, with Killer Bee nodding at such a strong candidates. The fact Mitarashi Anko and Hyuga Hinata are your lovers doesn't hurt their chances of joining either. Right, said Gaara, seeing Naruto smirk at him. I see you've been paying attention to the rumors. Yes, Anko is my lover, as is Hinata too. So are several other women in the Leaf. All of them are choosing me over the village and want to get away from there, said Naruto, knowing in the last 3 years things had changed. For one, Naruto was now older, wiser, and stronger than before, with the help of his first 3 teachers continuing their training of him to be the next big boss. In addition, the Namikaze had become an expert seal master after finding his mother's scrolls detailing how to do them, and how every Uzumaki back in her time was feared for their skills in the art. We should focus on recruiting the people that escaped the Mist's bloodline civil war. I know of several places rumored to hold scattered clans that barely got out of there alive, said Yugito, knowing that Kumo had investigated these rumors before, but no doubt those people with bloodlines kept themselves hidden and avoided such recruitment parties. We'll need to recruit shinobi, who are more focused on tracking before we can go after them, and offer them a place in Outer Heaven, said Fu, knowing anyone with their kind of lifestyle had trust issues. Agreed? Fortunately, we have a strong foundation to work with, as Wave Country has provided support for assisting in Outer Heaven being constructed, and Spring Country has also provided resources needed to make the construction process possible. Right now, the defensive walls for us are being set up, right now along key areas, while housing is still an issue that needs addressing among other things. To speed things along, each of us will assist in the construction process and building Outer Heaven so we all have a strong sense of attachment. When we aren't helping in the building of our new home, we will be training and doing missions to bring in more financial support to help us grow, said Naruto, seeing them nod in agreement. That and the Icha Icha Paradise movie you recently made with Koyuki also helped bring in a massive fortune too, said Yugito with a smirk, and Naruto just chuckled. From that smirk on your cute face, I take it you enjoyed watching me, said Naruto, with Yugito blushing and Nibi snickering at her. If he only knew just how many times you went to see it, kitten, said Nibi, while Yugito mentally glared at the demon cat. Quiet you, thought Yugito, while the Nibi just kept laughing. That aside, Namikaze-sama, we should also discuss the idea of additional training to help master the power of our respectful demons, and other skills to combat the Akatsuki, said Han, since he along with Roshi had been trying to do that for a while now. I can do that. I'm B who knows where it's at. Killer B Ken for my demon is my #1 fan, said Killer B, making everyone's sweat drop at him. You see what I have to work with here, said Yugito, with Naruto shaking his head and smirking. We'll try to work on that too. Han and Roshi will learn from Killer B in mastering the power sealed in them. Anyone else is welcome to join, but let me know first, and keep me updated on your progress. QB is already working with me in a symbiotic kind of way, so training and using his power doesn't have to start right away when it comes to myself. Also, I need you, Killer B, to help them handle fighting genjutsus, and how to fight without your demonic powers, since several of the Akatsuki have the ability to suppress them, said Naruto, with B giving a thumbs up with a smirk on his face. Leave it to me, Fox. You have my word. I'll work them like Yugito wants to work your said B, as he dodged the demonic chakra, and saw Yugito blushing heavily with a look of anger on her face. Finish that rhyme and you're dead on so many levels, said Yugito while shaking her fist at him. Okay, kitty cat. No need to go crazy like a bat, said B before ducking under another wave of Nibai's fire. All right, calm down. Killer B, don't tease your fellow Jinchuriki like that, and Yugito, please calm yourselves. I don't want this place being burned down before it can be built, said Naruto while Yugito let out a huff, while B stuck his head out from under the table and waved a white flag to indicate his surrender. What we going to do about additional allies, said Gaara, knowing Wave and Spring Country were supporting them right now with potential room for a few more like Suna. We have 2 countries so far supporting us, as you are already aware of. But just the 2 countries themselves on paper aren't enough. And we need more. What we need is our own spy network, but not like Jiraiya of the Sanins, and certainly not the way he goes about getting it from them. People within each country, in each shinobi village, that reports to us while working for key figures at every level, and knowing the details going on. From a daimyo's advisors in his or her court to the Ambu personally guarding a cage, will be secret agents in deep cover reporting what they know to us. Whatever they know, we will know, and we will act on it before they do, depending on the situation. Is there another war coming? What kind of disputes between countries are there? Who tried to kill who for what cause, and so on? We will a force that sees the whole picture, and not just the one side after the line is drawn. When we fight in a cause, the side we join will be the right side. But if we learn of something sinister being done during the middle of the fighting, we will pull out and make the secrets behind the conflict known to everyone, said Naruto, knowing the side they fight on would turn the tide of any war. Sounds risky, said Fu, knowing being a third party in wars and conflicts sometimes made them enemies on both sides. All wars and conflicts are risky, Fu-san. It's the price we pay, said Naruto, seeing his fellow Jinchuriki nod in understanding. They had been created to be weapons for war. It was only fitting they follow through with what they were created for, but on their terms and against the power-mad idiots that had ironically been behind their creation in some way. Of course, people would oppose them for uniting together, as fear of what they could do when working side by side would no doubt bring opposition, and attempts to destroy them. And you will pay the most, won't you? Said Gaara simply, since he sensed there was more to it than that. Correct, said Naruto, with the others looking a bit confused. What does he mean? Said Han with a frown. Along with my code name I'm known for, I intend to take up another to further solidify myself as the leader of Outer Heaven. And it is a cursed title handed down from teacher to student in the ways of war, said Naruto, with everyone becoming saddened by this news. What title? What is the code name? Said Fu, seeing Naruto smile slightly. My main code name will be Big Boss, and only when I have earned it will I be called by that name. Many years before the Sage of Six Paths was born, the world was different from what we know, and was even more violent then too. Back then, wars were massive, brutal, bloody, and some cases so damn senseless. Back then, there was a single soldier that was considered the greatest of his time, and was unmatched in all forms of combat. His name was Big Boss, the successor to the boss, who was his predecessor to the title of boss, and they fought one-on-one in combat to determine which of them would live to carry on the title, said Naruto, seeing his fellow Jinchuriki were now focused entirely on him. How is this title cursed? Said Roshi, while seeing Naruto run a hand through his hair. It's cursed because the one who carries the title of boss in their code name will forever know combat. It will never stop. It will never end. Always alert, always active, never letting down my guard for even a second. My ear always to the ground in case a conflict arrives, and until then I prepare for one almost non-stop, said Naruto, while seeing the look of horror on their eyes. To be in combat forever is a big responsibility. So overwhelming, thought Yugito as she understood his situation, and yet was saddened to know Naruto would never be able to let down his guard. And any children you have, said Han, knowing this cursed title could be passed down to them.
Only one of my children can be given that title should I choose to have any of them be trained to follow my path in being the next big boss of outer heaven. They cannot just inherit it. They must earn it through training, battle, blood, and death itself, said Naruto, seeing them understand just how severe it was to have such a title.
Trial by fire, said Gaara simply, with Naruto nodding. Exactly. Even then, I may have an apprentice of sorts instead to become my successor if I see the potential. And only then if I wish it, said Naruto, making sure they understood that the title of Big Boss wasn't just going to be handed out like candy to children. Sound harsh, said B finally, and for once he wasn't rapping. That's our lives, B. It's the path we walk. That path I must walk for as long as I'm able to until my body gives out. By that time my successor will come along and defeat me in a fight to the death in combat, said Naruto, seeing many cringe at that. Like I said, Fox, the whole thing sounds harsh, said B, with Naruto smirking. And like Gaara said, it's trial by fire, so the whole thing has to be harsh. And there is no backing out of it for me. There is still a chance for any one of you to leave, and no one here will think any less of you for it, said Naruto at last, knowing one day someone at some time would kill him and take his place. Whether it was at the hands of a family member or a student was his only real choice in how it ended. I'm in until the very end, said Gaara, knowing his friend, who had written to him for over 3 years in sharing knowledge, philosophy, and personal insights from their own lives, deserved that much. Me too, said Fu, knowing it was because of the Namikaze soldier standing only a few feet away that she was given a chance at a life away from the usual one of a Jinchuriki. Roshi. And I are with you all the way, said Han, with Roshi nodding, knowing that even if Naruto was the son of the Yondaime, the young man before them still suffered, and had long since wiped away any debts his old man may have owed. And what about you two? Are you in? Said Naruto, looking at Yugito and Killer Bee. I'm in. The status quo of the world needs to change, and we're the only ones capable of making that change happen, said Yugito, with determination in her voice. Killer Bee is a man of his word, Big Boss. Just like he's a man who brushes his teeth and knows how to floss. You invited us to come here to bring about something great, and to combat the threat of the world being consumed in hate. So I'm in to the end like everyone else here, and I just hope my words made my intention clear, said Killer Bee, with the other Jinchuriki raising an eyebrow at him. I'm going to take that as a yes and saying you're in, said Naruto, while Killer Bee had a tick mark on his forehead for a second, before shrugging. I have a question. Even though we know everyone is all in, and we know what we have to do, who out there is going to stop us from doing it? Said Fu, knowing there was more than just the Akatsuki they would have to deal with. Our old home villages, for one. The daimyo of each country will react differently to us, as some will hire us, and some will try to do the opposite. Thankfully, not everyone in the world wishes us harm and sees us as a threat. Just the rogue elements. We don't have to worry about the leaf as much since the Hokage is secretly backing this since I told her about the plan 3 years ago. Being her godson has its perks, said Naruto with a smirk on his face. Indeed, thought everyone around Naruto. Through her, I can get the people in my village who want out to come here and set up a new life for them. I know for a fact each of you has someone you think would be perfect from your own village who could be recruited to outer heaven or possibly help provide support for us within the walls of the shinobi village you are from. I don't want to hear them all at once, but I will hear from each of you individually tomorrow, should you wish to bring a candidate to my attention, and why they should be considered. Until then, our first official meeting as Outer Heaven's newly formed Wiseman's Committee has now been completed, and I will let all of you retire to your assigned quarters for the day, said Naruto, bowing slightly, and left the others to go to their assigned rooms. Not bad. You're getting better. It won't be long now, Naruto, said Big Boss, having seen the progress of the meeting inside the young Namikaze's head. I know. I don't want you to go. I don't want to take this final test just yet, thought Naruto while heading for his own quarters. It's unavoidable, Naruto. I went through it with the boss herself in my time. I fought her several times before our final battle. Each time I was hesitant, and even hated myself for killing her. I endured, same as you when the times comes to take up the mantle, as all of us do when we take up the title of boss, and it cannot be stopped. Out of all 3 of my sons, only one of them was worthy of it, and he fought not to have the title knowing how it would bind him to me. He was the only one to escape the cycle that bound all of us from its start to finish, and set us all free in the end. However, as the world changed from what we knew to what it is now, the powers that be need it to start over again, and for all the right reasons with people who can make sure the reason stays pure. As the boss entrusted me with her dream, Naruto, I am doing the same and entrusting it to you, and knowing that it's in good hands, said Big Boss, knowing Naruto still didn't like it. When will I face you and the others? Thought Naruto before opening his door. Soon. Not now, but soon. You are close, but not that close, and you still need to face a few more of your enemies before facing each of us. First, deal with the Akatsuki, then the villages should they wish to destroy Outer Heaven, and when that is over, then you fight us, said Big Boss, seeing Naruto sigh, knowing this path was going to kill him quickly or slowly depending on how things went. Anko, Hinata, Tayuya, and even Hana are all going to hate me when they learn about that, thought Naruto, knowing that wasn't going to be fun. Hana was another woman he had gotten to know in the last 3 years, as they went on a mission together, which really got them to bond, and started a growing relationship. It all started with a tracking mission for a mid-level missing nin, who had killed 2 family members of the Fire Daimyo's advisors, and was apparently went crazy after lying out in the sun too long a week prior in Wind Country. Naruto went one way to find him while Hana had gone the other when they saw 2 different sets of tracks leading in different directions, caused most likely by a blood clone of their target, given how the scent on both tracks were the same. Unfortunately, Hana got the correct one, and was ambushed by the crazy man. It also didn't help that the missing nin prepared to fight a member of the Inuzuka, and threw a smoke bomb at Hana to mess with her senses. When Naruto found her, Hana was on the ground, the missing nin was on top of her, grinning like a madman, and it was perfectly clear what the man wanted to do next to the female Inuzuka. Not on Naruto's watch. A stealth-made kill later with his HF sword through the missing nin's skull, and Hana was saved from having something truly disgusting from happening to her. The start of their relationship for the next 3 years. Something the woman's mother didn't protest against, as she heard from her daughter what happened, and Naruto soon found himself in the woman's infinite good graces in the process. Kiba was upset, of course, but Hana basically punted him out of the house and ended any argument the younger of the 2 wanted to have regarding this. Give them some credit, Kit. They're smart women. They knew what they were getting into the very moment they stuck by you these last 3 years. They'll help keep you sane through the dark times, said Kyubi, seeing Naruto sigh while running his hand through his hair again. He's right, Naruto. I would have gone insane had I not drowned myself in conflict, had not found Frank, and took him on as my student. Even Ocelot, when he joined up with me, had helped heal a piece of my heart, knowing the man was the boss's son. And we could look past what had become of that incident, said Big Boss, with Ocelot nodding in full agreement. When should I have them come here to Outer Heaven? The defensive walls and housing areas need to be built first, before any real population can spring about from this, thought Naruto, with Big Boss thinking it over. As of right now, you have the main building here done, which will be the nerve center of Outer Heaven, and thus has a few rooms meant to accommodate people as guests, while the lower regions below are meant for prisoners. Start with the wall first so you have a way to defend against intruders, then focus on homes soon after, and rotate from there on, said Big Boss, with Naruto nodding in understanding. Naruto-sama, said Tayuya, when Naruto walked further into his room and surprised the young mercenary at seeing the red head here. Tayuya, what are you doing here? Said Naruto, seeing woman in a tight red shinobi uniform that matched her hair with a silk blue ribbon tied in a bow behind her back, with a kodachi sheathed at her right leg by the knee. I came here to deliver a message to you by the Hawkage. She says it's urgent and doesn't trust Jiraiya of the Sannin to deliver this information, said Tayuya, as she handed him a scroll, and saw him reading it. Damn, the Akatsuki are making their move now. Word got out to them of us all coming together here, and they're going to make a move soon, said Naruto, grimacing at this turn of events. That's not all. Your old teammate Uchiha Sasuke fled to the Leaf with Haruno Sakura for Rice Country. He's going to try getting power from that place in order to kill his older brother Uchiha Itachi, said Tayuya. Knowing without a leader, the place was falling apart into utter chaos, and the Uchiha was going to stabilize it just enough only to get what he wanted before, letting the chaos continue. I should have killed him 3 years ago. The only good Uchiha is a dead Uchiha, said Naruto angrily, while Tayuya came closer and hugged him. You need to rest, Naruto-sama. You're tired, said Tayuya, while sensing just how tired the Namikaze really was and how his body ached from the stress he was under. I'll rest when I'm dead, said Naruto, but even then his voice showed signs of it, and the redhead held him even tighter. No, you'll rest now and regain your lost strength. The world won't be destroyed in one day, said Tayuya before guiding him to the bed and helped him lie down after removing the various articles of clothing that he wore. You'd be surprised, said Naruto before his eyelids began to get heavy and sleep soon took him into the land of dreams. Sensing him sleeping, Tayuya removed her weapons, got into the bed with him, and then covered his body with her own while pressing herself against his form, like a blanket just before covering them both. With one, she nestled her face at the crook of his neck, all the while humming a soft tune that came into her mind, and Tayuya sensed his muscles were becoming less rigid from action. Hinata-sama, Hana-sama, and Anko-sama were right. We have to protect Naruto-sama from himself, thought Tayuya while vowing to do just that. Chapter 7, Birth of Hell. The fire of war raged around Rice Country. Dead bodies lay everywhere, and the various birds that ate their flesh were already feasting happily on the corpses laid before them like a smorgasbord. Samurai and shinobi were on today's menu for these birds, and even the various animals in this region of the world, once those first to arrive in eating, had their fill. The war itself was started by the Rice Daimyo, who was paid a visit by one Uchiha Sasuke, and his subordinate Haruno Sakura shortly upon the missing nin's arrival into his domain. Back when Orochimaru first came to Rice Country, he sweet-talked the feudal lord into allowing him to set up a hidden village and the promise of making the country strong. The country was small, a few shinobi clans at best, but they were all scattered, divided, and in some cases would war with each other. The Sannin had come with the promise of uniting the clans and train strong shinobi capable of contending with the 5 major ones and make Rice Country one to be feared. The feudal lord of Rice was a man with strong ambitions himself, but without the means to act, and could not until Orochimaru arrived with his knowledge. Hence, the building of the village and the building up of forces capable of fighting anyone under the Sanin's command. When Sasuke arrived, no one really took him seriously since he was still a kid not even old enough to shave, and the Uchiha had to use his own methods of persuasion to get the point across. None of them had the finesse of Orochimaru's had, which, while were brutal in their own ways, was done on a calculating measure to ensure a mixture of loyalty that was mixed into the fear, and ensure that betrayal was the last thing from his subordinate's mind. Uchiha Sasuke didn't care about finesse though, as he cared about results, and that they were done to ensure things benefited himself, and all for giving him power to kill those he hated most, namely, Itachi and Naruto, for their ability to get strong while he was left behind with nothing. With Itachi, Sasuke had embraced his hate to kill the slayer of the Uchiha clan, as it was what the older of the two brothers had forced upon the younger, and start the clan over. With Naruto, however, the hatred was born from jealousy, as Sasuke felt he was being cheated out of everything, and the power people had that should belong only to him. It was absurd, pure and simple. And Uchiha always got what he wanted and took what he wanted from anybody that had power. Hence how Rice Country had come to be war-torn and in shambles under the boy-turned-man's poisonous touch. Sasuke had gone to see the Rice Daimyo, not unlike how the Snake Sanin had done, but unlike Orochimaru's way of doing things, that Uchiha had used his Sharingan to basically give the missing nin permission to cause untold chaos to their enemies and show no mercy. And that was what Sasuke did, or rather tried to do. The boy-turned-man had expected things to go his way from the start, since in Sasuke's mind made him believe that things should always go his way, and if they didn't, he'd make it by any means necessary. First, he went after the small villages and the countries they served before going after the much bigger ones. But Sasuke had miscalculated on so many levels. First, the Uchiha had assumed his brutal ways would allow him to have the same level of loyal troops that Orochimaru had when inheriting them from the dead Sanin, and none of them would dare cross him. Second, the opposition would fall easily given his Sharingan, the skills his clan were known for, and the forces he gained from his conquering. And last, but certainly not least, Sasuke had underestimated Namikaze Naruto. While Sasuke had planned for things to go his way from the start by his presence alone, Naruto had worked hard to gather those that he knew would become drawn to him, and what he believed in without questioning their loyalty. Because of his brutal nature when killing off several clans that refused to follow him after his victories, Sasuke had faced desertions, questioning of his motives, which had resulted in killing off a few small clans that showed signs of abandoning him for his cruel actions, and further proved he was a heartless bastard. Naruto didn't act like that, as his ranks slowly but steadily swelled in outer heaven with people wanting to join, and even those that deserted Rice Country had done the same. Those that had left Sound had told Sasuke's opposite of all the sins the Shiha was committing, and planning on doing to the world without regret to his actions against it. That in itself made Naruto furious over his mistake in sparing the bastard and showing him mercy by letting the prick live. Big Boss had told Naruto that something similar had happened with him, and Major Zero with the man living to continue his havoc after their split to form their own groups. Only by killing Sasuke would the blonde find a measure of peace in himself for this oversight, and only by killing Sasuke could the world begin to slowly heal itself. So a plan was set in motion to pit Sasuke's enemies against him at the same time, as the blonde Jinchuriki knew the arrogant jerk would fight enemies on all sides, and decided to give him just that. Gaara had contacted his sister Insuna, telling her the situation while Killer Bee did the same for the Raikage about Uchiha Sasuke, and how he was the one attack both villages in the belief they would fall to him. Add to the fact Sasuke was not keeping this, a strictly shinobi affair, also made things worse for the leader of Sound, as his actions in using the Rice Daimyo's samurai army to attack other countries had caused those feudal lords to send out their armies. In short, Sasuke was losing ground fast, and his own hatred was blinding him to that very simple truth in a painful manner. Even worse was the morale of his forces had thinned to the very minimum of numbers, as the shinobi that stayed were retired due to being too old, or were too injured to risk leaving the Uchiha out of fear of him hunting them down to face a slow, agonizing death. The only young person Sasuke's age now was Sakura, but while the pink-haired girl had firmly believed that the Uchiha would never betray her, the truth was the Sharingan user would in a heartbeat, and the only reason he hadn't was because her usefulness had not run out. But it was closing fast, with Rice Country's enemies closing in on her and him for starting this fight. He couldn't win. Karen had left him after seeing his brutality and cold acts of murder of subordinates simply on a whim, no matter what they did to displease the Uchiha. Wazuki Suigetsu had stuck with him longer on account of the Uchiha's desire to spill blood, and knowing where to gain one of the 7 swords of mist at Wave Country where Zabuza's grave had been. However, as things became noticeably dire, Suigetsu had started to think about his own survival since he would most likely be locked up again in a cell somewhere, and fled just past the Rice Country border only to have one very pissed-off Namikaze, Naruto himself, waiting for him. Naruto had respected Zabuza and Haku too much to see some would-be swordsmen on the Shiha's side of the war simply defile their graves just for the sake of the marker left behind. After Karen had left, Naruto had a tracking team be deployed to find her, and bring the girl to him for questioning on everything she knew about Sasuke's operations. After the girl told him everything she knew, including what Suigetsu had done, Naruto was livid at the news, and personally to hunt the bastard down after learning everything about the man during his time being there. Karen didn't know much about Suigetsu's life before she came to Sound, but the red-haired girl did know that the swordsman had been experimented on by Orochimaru, and had the ability to become one with water. Whether or not it was some kind of clan ability or the Sanin's experimentations bringing about his ideal goal was unknown. Quite frankly, Naruto didn't care at the time. Flashback: border of fire in Rice Country. Do you know why I am here? Aside from wanting Sasuke's exact location, said Naruto with his HF sword drawn and ready for a fight. Yeah, I do. Sasuke told me this would happen when I went to get this sword in Wave Country. Zabuza made quite the impression on you from what I heard, and how you were going to hold a grudge against me for taking this, said Suigetsu, as he grinned at Naruto and got Kubikira Bocho ready for combat. You could say that. I have nothing but the greatest respect for him, and I will not have someone claiming to be his successor take the blade that is his grave marker. The blade had only one true master, and it was him, said Naruto with Suigetsu scowling at him for the insult. You don't know anything, brat. The blade of one of the 7 swordsmen is always passed down from teacher to student, and was going to be the next one to wield it after his death. I would have come for the sword sooner if Orochimaru hadn't locked me away, since my loyalty to him was always in question. But now I have a chance to fulfill my own ambition, and this sword in my hands is the first of the 7 I intend to collect, said Suigetsu, as Naruto scowled further while got ready to strike, and his tactical eye hidden behind the eye patch was showing him the information needed to fight the man before him. But first, Naruto wanted to see just how good Suigetsu really was with that sword when compared to Zabuza. The two charged forward, their swords clashing against the other, though it was clear that Naruto's was the sharper blade after cutting into Kubikira Bocho, and Suigetsu had to jump back to assess the damage before charging in again. Naruto would admit to himself that Suigetsu had the moves to use Zabuza's sword, but the man was far from the level of skill the demon of the mist possessed, and also lacked the footwork needed to fight back like the Namikaze. All the rogue swordsman did was swing, swing, and more swing with the blade with no finesse at all. The training Suigetsu had while was been good was also incomplete at best. I know enough. Judging by the fact you're running away from Sound, you aren't loyal to Sasuke, and would rather not side with the losing part in this war when facing judgment, said Naruto, as he kicked Suigetsu back, and saw the point of impact turn slightly into water before turning back into solid flesh again. Maybe the Uchiha isn't really known for being nice. The only reason that Sakura Chick tolerates him is because she wants to get into his pants and make little babies for him. Not that he ever gives her the time of day to do it. He's so obsessed with wanting power that the piece of ass right next to him ready, willing, and able to give him pleasure is being ignored. I'm beginning to think Sasuke's gay, said Suigestu while Naruto just smirked at him. Yeah, I'm willing to bet that too. So many fangirls wanted him, and he just ignored them all, said Naruto while waiting for his opponent to make his next move. What an ass. Ha! But seriously, we're getting off track of the conversation. The point is, I need a place to continue my ambition to get all 7 swords in my possession, and I'm not about to be stopped by the likes of you, said Suigestu before performing the hidden mist jutsu, using it in combination of turning his body slightly into water. So he know this jutsu, huh? Not surprising, I suppose. He must have been trained in mist in their jutsus along with your swordsmanship before being turned into one of the Snake Sanin's test subject, thought Naruto while closing his eye and expanding his other 4 senses, before rolling to his right and dodged the blade aimed at his shoulder. Good reflexes. You can't see me in the mist, so you're compensating with the other senses to find out where I'm going to strike next, said Suigestu, with a grin on his face, knowing that many relied on their eyes, and only a fool would use them against such a jutsu. Only a fool relies just on his eyes alone. And as you can tell, I am no fool, said Naruto before gathering chakra around him and unleashed it to part the mist. Not bad. Shame I didn't run into you first before the Uchiha. Something tells me that we would have gotten along very well, said Suigestu with his grin getting wider to show his sharp teeth. Still, could you know? Mist is getting back on its feet with the Mizukage, and I'm sure she would like to have someone like you on her side to reform the 7 swordsmen of the mist, said Naruto with Suigestu, as he saw the man was interested in that, and gave the blonde an inquiring look. And I could be its leader, said Suigestu, knowing that was part of his dream. If you ask politely. Hashigaki Kisame has one of the swords you seek, and I'm sure the Mizukage will reward you greatly for helping her retrieve each weapon to place in the hands of a worthy successor to lead in her name, said Naruto, seeing Suigestu grinning even further. And you can make this happen, said Suigestu with intrigue. Would I be making the offer if it wasn't possible? Said Naruto, seeing the man looking at him with some suspicion. You are a man of your word from what I've heard. Very rare these days. Not to mention your reputation has made you quite the influential man in the world. I even heard a rumor that some of the various daimyos in the elemental countries don't dare make potentially dangerous moves that bring about conflict without your secret approval, said Suigestu, while Naruto just smirked more. Perhaps, though how that rumor got out makes me suspect someone told someone who wasn't supposed to know, and I have a feeling that person is going to be in a lot of trouble for leaking it out to spite me, said Naruto, knowing there was only one person with the means to get such information out, and that had been a big thing on the do not do that to Naruto list in regards to this certain person. Then, let's make a deal and swear to honor it on our skills as swordsmen. You take me to the Mizukage to become a 7 swordsman of the mist, and in return I'll tell you where Sasuke is going to be hiding out, said Suigestu, seeing Naruto narrow his eye at him. And how do I know the information you give will be accurate? Said Naruto, since he had been having his force helping Suna and Kumo in this war, in sacking base after base Sasuke had set up. Sasuke's running out of bases. I saw a report how 2 of them were taken a few days ago without much resistance. He has 1 more, but even I know that one is going to get sacked sooner than later, and the current base Sasuke's currently holed up in just happens to be the best concealed one. You know how a guy like him is, right? The old save the best for last and all that other crap, said Suigestu, seeing Naruto nodding since Sasuke would leave the best for last.
Okay, I agree. We go to Mist and convince the Mizukage you're worthy of being the leader of the new 7 swordsmen of the Mist. In return, you tell me where the base, and what to expect when there, said Naruto, seeing Suigestu grin further.
Deal, said Suigestu, knowing his luck was turning for the better. End flashback. Now here Naruto was, standing among the fires of war with his forces having moved swiftly to reach Sasuke's final base, and bring things to an end. It would be amusing to see the Uchiha after all this time, as Naruto wanted to see just how strong the Uchiha was, And if the jerk had actually done more than just command his opponents to surrender because he was an Uchiha. There was also some information that Naruto wanted to have confirmed from the arrogant jerk about a spy in the leaf feeding the Uchiha information, since there were signs of it in several reports the Namikaze had read from his own spies. While Naruto had an idea of the source behind the spy in the leaf, he knew that proof for his godmother to take down the spy, and knew that the best way to catch the mole was to outfox the rat by spilling his guts. "Ray Fox-sama," said a female voice into the Namikaze's earpiece. "This is Gray Fox. Go ahead." "Stinger," said Naruto, using Fu's code name in honor of the demon sealed inside her. "We found the base. It's filled with old and wounded shinobi. They're either too old, weak, or injured to fight us. It's about 5 miles north of your current position," said Fu, as she had scouted ahead of him, and found the base in the general area Suigestu had told them to look. "Don't let down your guard, Stinger. Just because it looks like the base is just littered with weak shinobi doesn't mean it is. Sasuke might have something up his sleeve, and while I do not believe that personally, I'd rather not ignore the possibility out some sense of pride or arrogance in my own abilities," said Naruto, knowing that underestimating your enemy was unwise. "Understood. I'm going to continue surveillance for now until you get here," said Fu, since she knew he would want to handle this himself. It didn't take long for Naruto to get to the base, landing beside Fu, and to give it a once-over himself while checking for any real threats that Sasuke might be hiding. Seeing none so far, the blonde ordered Fu to stay behind to keep an eye on things, and then entered the base before finding the entrance to the underground area Suigestu had told him was the entrance. Entering cautiously, Naruto found most of the room were empty, and there was not a single enemy standing in his way. Something was wrong. It wasn't until Naruto came to a single large room did the Namikaze realize Sasuke had been expecting him, and saw the Uchiha on the ground in what seemed like mediation. Not that Naruto believed Sasuke embraced mediation, as the emo was too into himself to actually accept the concept, and would sooner go on a date with Sakura than embrace the path to serenity. "So it's just you and me, huh? Where's Sakura? I half expected her here screeching about how you were unbeatable, that I was moron, and would never match your greatness. Did you finally knock her up to shut her up?" said Naruto, with Sasuke standing and opening his eyes to reveal the Minjikyo Sharingan. "She finally proved her usefulness to me," said Sasuke triumphantly, while Naruto just scowled at him. "You stupid idiot. The one girl left in the whole freaking world, willing to be the mother of your children, and you kill her. And for what? For that? You do realize the chances of rebuilding your clan just went from slim to none, right?" said Naruto, seeing Sasuke just scoff at him. "Please, as if I'd want Sakura to give me such weak children. Besides, once I kill Itachi, his eyes will allow me to become immortal, and the need to rebuild the Uchiha clan will become a moot point," said Sasuke, with Naruto raising an eyebrow at him. "And how are you going to do that, idiot? You're never going to kill him, and even if you do manage to it, his eyes will practically be useless to you," said Naruto, seeing Sasuke now scowling at him. "Shut up, loser, you just don't get it, do you? Once I kill you, Itachi will be next, and then the world will bow before the might of the Uchiha clan for all eternity," said Sasuke, as he saw Naruto shake his head at him, and didn't look impressed at him. "If you say so, but then again you did like to talk a lot of shit, and run your mouth to the point where your ass couldn't cash the check it wrote," said Naruto, seeing Sasuke draw a kunai and grin evilly at him. "According to your pathetic way of thinking, while you were busy gather up such weak fools, I was looking into enhancing my already elite body into becoming something more than what it already was, and have broken free from my limitations," said Sasuke, as he now had his tongue out, and it was long like Orochimaru's had been while he now stood on the tip of his right foot's big toe. "Reminds me of Vamp," said Ocelot, as he sensed Naruto nodding at him, and saw the Uchiha just grin further. "Impressed? You should be, loser. I used Orochimaru's past experiments he had locked up, dissected them, and made them a part of something great inside me. I've taken what measly power they possessed and brought them together to make something greater than they ever could be alone," said Sasuke, showing his fangs and clawed hands. "You're such pathetic excuse for a human being. You talk of clan superiority, but the fact remains that what you did to yourself was only achieved through unnatural means, and changes that the body will one day reject. Maybe not now or a year into the future. But we both know that your unnatural changes will be the death of you if I'm not here today," said Naruto, seeing Sasuke laugh like he just told a hilarious joke. "That's rich! You're one to talk given the QB sealed inside of you," said Sasuke, with Naruto raising an eyebrow at him. "So, what about the demonic fox sealed in my gut? He hasn't done anything to make me a better shinobi," said Naruto, with Sasuke snarling at him. "Don't play dumb. I know the vast chakra reserves you possess come from the demon. I just have to extract the Kyuubi, seal it into myself, and any future problems my body will have are gone," said Sasuke, like it was the simplest thing in the world. "Fool! It's not so simple that you can just seal Kyuubi into your body. A seal master has to do it, and the vessel must just recently brought into the world. You're over a decade and a half too late to take Kyuubi into that deformed body of yours. Even if it was possible, the fox would just overload your chakra network out of spite and cause your body to explode in a very agonizing way." "Damn right," said Kyuubi inside Naruto's head. "If I can't have the power inside your body, then no one can, and after I kill you, the sluts at your home are next," said Sasuke before charging forward, and Naruto did the same. The two practically danced around the other, dodging the kunai, or sword, trying to slice the other up into tiny pieces. Naruto had to admit that Sasuke was holding his own, but mostly because of the Sharingan and the unnatural augmentations the Uchiha made to allow his body to be this flexible. Of course, the arrogant prick wasn't the only one with agility, and Naruto was matching the Uchiha move for move. It was always duck, dodge, twist, counter, swing, duck, thrust, jump, spin, slash, and clash of metal hitting metal. Sasuke was becoming less and less pleased with the fact the Namikaze in front of him was doing such a great job of staying alive, while cursing the blonde's skills. Naruto was able to dodge the strike by Sasuke, knock the kunai in his hand out of it into the air, leap back to dodge another attack, catch the kunai with his foot, using the space between his big toe, and launched it back the Uchiha via a spin kick. Sasuke caught the kunai with his teeth, spun with the momentum in a complete circle before facing Naruto again, and was soon found the blonde had used that action to get in close to stab the Uchiha with his HF sword to the stomach. However, Sasuke grabbed Naruto by the wrist and threw him away from him while the HF sword was still stuck in the Uchiha's stomach. The raven-haired missing nin just laughed like Naruto's attempt to kill him was a joke and took the kunai out of his mouth before charging the Namikaze while ignoring the sword in his gut. Naruto smirked at the foolish Uchiha as dodged two strikes, grabbed the hilt of his HF sword, jumped over the Uchiha, slashing at his back in the process, and a sweep kick that knocked Sasuke off his feet. But the Uchiha grabbed the ground quickly, unnaturally bending his body to spin around and land on his feet. Not bad, Sasuke, for a emo bastard who enjoys mimicking people and whines all the time. You actually have some skill. Itachi would almost be proud, said Naruto, seeing Sasuke scowl at him for the mentioning of the Uchiha clan's murderer. Give it up, loser. Anything you can do, I can do better, and will always be the superior one between us, said Sasuke, as he just ignored his injuries, and the Namikaze was beginning to wonder if the Uchiha had somehow numbed his body in order to will it to fight longer. Aye. Perverted version of mind over matter. Vulcan Raven would be enraged by the way this fool does it, said Ocelot, knowing the shaman had been well skilled in the art. And it was no secret how the large man had felt about people perverting the skill to go beyond physical limitations. Take his head off and be done with it, said Frank Jaeger, with the Namikaze mentally nodding to his two senseis. If you are Suo superior, then why are you losing the war, and need to alter yourself in order to keep up with me in the first place? said Naruto, with Sasuke frowning at him. Shut up! I may be losing now, but soon my power will be more than a match for my enemies, and they will be wiped out soon enough, said Sasuke, as he went through hand signs. And then shocked Naruto slightly when forming the one jutsu that confirmed the suspicion the Namikaze had about the spy in Konoha. The jutsu being used was the Rikari, and only one man knew such a lightning jutsu to pass it on to Sasuke during this time. So he taught it to you. Then it's like I suspected all along, said Naruto with Sasuke just smirking at him. Yeah, Kakashi showed me. It wasn't easy either given the missions he took, and I bet the Hokage had people watching him. Still, with the help of my Sharingan, I was able to learn it very quickly, and preventing anyone from knowing he was my contact in the Leaf Village, said Sasuke with the smirk on his face growing a bit. But it stopped when Naruto did the same, and the Uchiha realized that something just happened he missed. Thanks, Timmy. That's all the evidence I need. My subordinates have just heard your little confession and recorded every word you've said to me. Your little source for information inside of the leaf is going to get removed, and don't worry about his Sharingan. I'll see it gets obliterated from this world, said Naruto, seeing Sasuke's face become filled with rage at being made a fool out of by the Namikaze. It hurt the Emo's pride. You bastard, yelled Sasuke before charging forward, the Rikari ready to be used, and Naruto just watched the Uchiha come at him with the intent to kill. You would know all about being a bastard, wouldn't you, Sasuke? Said Naruto, as got into his sword stance, visible eye closed, and waited for the right moment to strike. Nothing you do can stop me. I am an Uchiha, an elite. All the world will bow to me once it is mine, and mine alone. Now die and let me feed on your power to make that happen, said Sasuke, thrusting the lightning jutsu forward. But the Uchiha had not counted on Naruto being prepared for this moment, and the fact there was a way to counter the powers of the basic powers of the Sharingan. First, you kept your eyes closed. Second, you had to be patient. Third, your other senses and skills had to be refined to a razor's edge, where using your eyes would be a waste of energy. Naruto had trained himself to do all that, and more due to the years of training Big Boss, along with his two other senseis in how to fight. There was no school like the really old school, and Naruto had become the valedictorian of his graduating class. As the lightning-based jutsu was within an inch from his chest, Naruto moved faster than Sasuke thought possible with his eyes supposed to show him everything, and didn't believe his eyes were unbeatable. The blonde Namikaze spun around the Uchiha, avoiding the stabbing hand filled with lightning. HF sword arched back high over Naruto's head, and in a slow-motion moment the arrogant Uchiha realized he had miscalculated in a soon-to-be painful fashion. Slash! I have a better idea. Why don't you die and let the world not deal with a prick like you anymore, said Naruto, though he knew the question wouldn't be answered anytime soon by the Uchiha. Not with half of his head diagonally sliced through and slipping off from the rest of the body. One Uchiha down. 2 more Uchiha to go, said Kyuubi, while Naruto just nodded in agreement. Gray Fox-sama, said Fu, as her unit was waiting for him to respond, and the Namikaze knew she was worried about him. I'm here, Stinger. Inform our agents in both shinobi villages where the location of this base is. The people in it should not be harmed upon being restrained, and the Uchiha, along with his banshee bitch, are dead, said Naruto into his communicator microphone, which was part of the earpiece, and extended to his chin when activated. Shino-san is already doing that as we speak. What about you? Said Fu curiously, since she knew he could do it himself easily. I have to see my godmother in Konoha. We have to handle some important, internal, and quite possibly personal business with some people there before things progress even further, said Naruto while leaving the underground base and heading for Konoha via the shadows of the forest around him. All right. Killer Bee contacted me earlier while you were down there. He has some news for you about the Akatsuki and Uchiha Itachi we picked up with our spy network. You are not going to like it. He says you should see him before doing anything else, said Fu, while Naruto stopped moving and frowned. How serious is this intel? said Naruto before a pause came from his fellow Jinchuriki. He wasn't rapping, said Fu finally, and it made Naruto's eyes go wide. B never rapped when information was serious. I'll see him first then. In the meantime, clear a path for Kumo and Suna to get to the base before heading back. Whatever intel we have on the Akatsuki, I want everyone on the committee to know, and prepare a plan to act on it, said Naruto, knowing that his fellow Jinchuriki needed to know everything about their enemy. Understood. We'll be back soon, said Fu before the line ended. Konoha 1 week later. I can't believe this, said Tsunade, as she rubbed the bridge of her nose and saw Naruto put the recorder away after playing Sasuke, telling who his spy was in the leaf. It came straight from the Uchiha's mouth. He created the Raikiri right in front of me. There is no one else in Konoha with that jutsu, and only one person could have taught Sasuke that attack. The fool even killed the one female in the world, willing to have his children and continue the Uchiha name all for the sake of power, said Naruto, seeing Tsunade, looking grim. I guess it's to be expected. The men blamed you for Sasuke fall from grace, and I suspect Kakashi had a hand in Sasuke's defection to Sound too, said Tsunade, as she saw her godson nod, and then turned to the window with a glare to indicate he knew who was there listening in on the conversation. Get in here, fool. I have some questions for you, said Naruto coldly, before Jiraiya came in through the window, and the Sannin didn't look happy. What is it, Naruto? Said Jiraiya while getting off the window and walked further into the room. Only to be slammed against the wall. Hard. I've been hearing some interesting things I thought you could verify for me since they are all connected to your pathetic ass. What gives you the right to leak information about my activities to everyone, which puts Outer Heaven in danger, and those of my fellow Jinchuriki? What gives you the right to not tell us how Uchiha Itachi is your spy in the Akatsuki? What gives you the right to not tell us that the appointed leader of the Akatsuki is an Uzumaki? Said Naruto, seeing Tsunade's eyes widen in shock. What? Said Tsunade while rising to her feet. How do you know that? Said Jiraiya while seeing Tsunade scowling at him from behind Naruto. You think your spy network is the only game in town? This just shows how sloppy you have gotten. Let me fill you in on some things, my godfather. My spy network uncovered that information after we captured theirs and your spy before proceeding to, shall we say, well, squeeze them for information. The spy we got from your network told us how he was assigned by you personally to learn everything possible about us. While I don't really mind that, I do mind how you were going to use that against us and sell that information to our enemies, said Naruto while he along with Jiraiya felt Tsunade's killer intent shoot through the roof. You were going to do what? Said Tsunade furiously at Jiraiya. Oh, it gets better. The man appointed the leader of the Akatsuki is an Uzumaki. He once helped train him at one point, and has known about this man being the leader for quite a while. He's possibly my distant cousin and this baka knew it, said Naruto angrily at Jiraiya while the Sannin kept his mouth shut. Does this Uzumaki know you're an Uzumaki? That I am on my grandmother's side, said Tsunade, seeing Jiraiya getting a bit uncomfortable. He knows. He knows a lot of things. Jiraiya feeds Itachi information. Itachi gives it to their leader, who I believe calls himself Pain, and the man uses that against me. Not just me, but all my fellow Jinchuriki. And the people living in Outer Heaven, that was once my mother's ancient homeland of Whirlpool, said Naruto, seeing Jiraiya look away from him before being slammed against the wall, again so the Sannin would continue to look at the Nameki's. Why? Said Tsunade, seeing her fellow teammate remain quiet. You want to know why, godmother? I'll tell you why. This moron doesn't want me to fulfill the prophecy that will upset the status quo of the shinobi villages. If that means having the Akatsuki extract the Kyuubi, then so be it, and I'd bet my eye patch Jiraiya would do that, if given the choice, said Naruto, seeing the Sannin scowl at him. The prophecy could destroy everything, everyone, and cause untold destruction upon this world has become, said Jiraiya before being thrown across the room into the wall. So take the child of prophecy out of the equation, hence no more prophecy, and no risk of things being changed. The world will stay stagnant and die slowly. Without change, Yubaka. The world needs to change, said Naruto while Jiraiya got himself free from the wall. Says a scorned Jinchuriki that the world hates, said Jiraiya before being grabbed by his face and slammed against the wall. Says his godmother, who you along with Sarutobi-sensei scorned. And trust me when I say you will not be leaving Konoha's hospital for quite some time, said Tsunade, as she intended to make Jiraiya regret wronging her godson and practically selling him out to the enemy. While you deal with him, I'm going to deal with one Hate Kakashi and remove that piece of trash from this world, said Naruto before leaving the two former teammates a chance to talk. Very painful talk at that. Memorial Stone. Kakashi was standing by the memorial stone, each name on it of a Konoha shinobi that had once given their life for the village, and quite the few of them had been friends with the copy nin. Rin, Obito, and the Yondaime Hokage himself, to name a few people that had their names marked on the memorial stone. Which is why it pained him to see Sasuke and Sakura's were not among those names on it. I suppose given the nature of things, it would be stupid to have their names on the stone and openly honor them, thought Kakashi before sensing a presence behind him, and that the person was not friendly in terms of wanting to talk. You are too predictable, Hate. A properly taught academy student could figure out your habits, said Naruto, now standing some 20 feet away from Kakashi. What do you want? Said Kakashi calmly, though he had an idea. Your head? Traitor? Said Naruto accusingly, while Kakashi stiffened before becoming lax and turning around. So you know, said Kakashi simply, while Naruto just glared at him with one cold blue eye. The Uchiha sold you out in a display of pure arrogance. Even used the Rakiri at the end to make the attempt at killing me. What I want to know is, why? You may be an Uchiha ass-kisser, but we both know you have a good deal of common sense and loyalty to the leaf that should be unquestionable. So why betray that? Why betray the village for the Uchiha that left it? Said Naruto, as he saw Kakashi's eye narrow at him and knew a nerve had been hit. I owe Obito my life. He gave me his Sharingan eye and entrusted me with the legacy of the Uchiha clan. After Itachi killed the clan, sparing Sasuke in the process, I took it upon myself to be the boy's big brother, and swore to protect him from harm no matter what, said Kakashi, seeing Naruto's eye narrow at him. And my father? My mother? They entrusted you with me, as well after their deaths. Did their loyalty, their embracement of you as a friend, and as a member of their family mean nothing to you? After your father died, it was my father who took care of you, and tried to help in keeping the pain from consuming you too. How can you possibly justify that? Said Naruto, seeing the Junin's eye narrow even more and a scowl of fury showed on his masked face. It meant everything to me. It always did. But then she became pregnant with you. My spot on the Namakai's throne and being their prince was taken from me by your future birth, and I was not about to surrender my rightful place by their side, said Kakashi, seeing the boy's eye widen at a revelation. You sold them out. You told Sasuke's parents, who wanted to do something in order to take control of Konoha after the chaos subsided, even though you didn't know what they would do. And they in turn told Madara where to find my mother. The Uchiha did his thing, killing the third's wife, and the Anbu with her before starting the Kyuubi attack. You actually hoped my father would survive the attack, but my mother and myself would be killed by the end result of it. You would then swoop in, acting like the sorrow-filled, mourning in loss of losing a surrogate younger brother, and comforted my father. You intended to whisper sweet words into his ear about this being a sign that only you could truly be his son, said Naruto, seeing Kakashi's body shake subtly in rage at being discovered by the Namakais. Your point, said Kakashi while fighting the urge to reveal his Sharingan and unleash its power on Naruto. My point is Hate, is I don't, who is more pathetic in terms of jealousy and hunger for more power that is not their own? You? Or the Uchiha, said Naruto while Kakashi had heard enough and charged at him. But the Namikaze leaped over the Junin and saw the man was not pleased. You don't know anything. What could you possibly understand, you demonic filth? I told the Sandaime it would be better to kill you and spare us the risk of the prophecy coming true. The old fool felt it was better to control the boy connected to the prophecy instead of removing you from the equation altogether. He knew you would change the elemental countries with your power and wanted to control it so the leaf would survive everything that was destroyed by your actions, said Kakashi, bringing out a kunai and the namikaze before him, bringing out his HF dagger. The old man should have known better in trying to control power that was not meant to be controlled in the first place. Now he's paying the price for his stupidity, said Naruto, while Kakashi raised his headband to reveal his Sharingan and was clearly going to go all out in fighting him. Monster, said Kakashi as he charged forward again, intent on killing Naruto, and the haunting image of the Yondaime's face that appeared in his mind that just scowled. At least I'm not lower than trash traitor, said Naruto as he ducked under the swing, put the edge of his HF dagger to Kakashi's throat, grabbed the Junin's free hand reaching for the Namikaze's dagger holding arm, and was spinning the man around horizontally in an almost unnatural way. When they stopped spinning, Kakashi's head was taken clean off his body, and ending the life of a once great man turned pathetic shadow of his former self. Did Naruto feel some form of regret for killing his father's former student? No, it had to be done. The Kakashi he had killed was not the man his father trained years ago, and simply put this shell of the real shinobi out of his misery. He should have suffered more, said Kyuubi in giving his own opinion on the matter. He'll have plenty of time to suffer while in hell. The fact I sent him there is more than enough, thought Naruto while the fox conceded that little fact. There are more important matters to attend to now, Naruto. Chances are you will have to fight your fellow Uzumaki in combat, and he's not going to hold back. The same will be needed of you, kid. You're going to have to go all out against someone like him if the info we got from that Zetsu indeed accurate about this guy's powers, said Big Boss while the Namikaze nodded mentally. I don't want to, but I have to, and if I don't do it, thought Naruto knowing what would happen if he did hold back. You and everyone you care about will die, said Ocelot while Naruto didn't like the idea of that happening. Thanks for not sugarcoating it, thought Naruto sarcastically with Ocelot grinning at him. Just being straight to the point, kid. It's what being a solider is all about. Just roll with the punches, said Ocelot, seeing Naruto grimace. There's more to this little talk, Naruto, than just talk. If you're going to have even a small remote win against Pain, you need to best all of us in combat, said Frank while Naruto realized what the man was implying. You're talking about becoming the new big boss, thought Naruto while his heart was racing faster than ever before. Yeah, it's that time, kid. It's time to become the new big boss, and as we told you early on, it is going to be trial by fire, said Big Boss while Naruto sighed heavily. And after it's over in the event I'm victorious, you will leave my body for the other side, thought Naruto, seeing the three soldiers of the old ways, and life smile at him. We'll meet again one day, Naruto. You're still family to us. When your time is over, we will be there waiting and ready to embrace you as one of us, said Frank, while Naruto just smiled at the thought, and wouldn't mind meeting the woman behind them all that helped make two of these three warriors so great. Don't forget about me, said Kyuubi, as he had grown attached to the group and felt like a part of their family. Of course we won't, Kyuubi. You are family too. Joy would love to meet you, said Big Boss, seeing Kyuubi, smiling at the thought of meeting this warrior woman. When do we start this? Thought Naruto, knowing the sooner they set things in motion, the better. When you get back to Outer Heaven, said Ocelot, seeing Naruto nod in understanding, and began heading home. I was afraid you would say that, thought Naruto before he headed for Outer Heaven to prepare himself for the inevitable. Akatsuki HQ. Zetsu has been captured by the Jinchuriki, said Itachi, while the other members of the Akatsuki shifted nervously when sensing Pain's displeasure. How did he get caught? Said Pain while staring at the Uchiha before him. I don't know. It's possible some kind of detection, seal designed to detect unauthorized entry into their outer heaven, was activated and prevented his escape. Zetsu is unable to travel through water when moving from one location to the next, said Itachi, with pain nodding while thinking things over in his mind. Is it true the leader of this outer heaven is the QB Jinchuriki? Said Pain, seeing Itachi nod his head. Yes, the leader is Namikaze Naruto, formerly known as Uzumaki Naruto, said Itachi, as he had been told by Jiraiya recently to let Pain be reminded of that fact, and that one of the Jinchuriki they needed was in fact family. Uzumaki. Then that means Nagato's target is an Ain, thought Konan, as she saw the twitch the man gave, but knew no one else did due to shadowy form of their projections being able to mask any reaction on their faces. And she saw it due to being right next to him. Uzumaki. I know the boy had it before the change to Namikaze, but I was under the impression that was done to hide his real identity from the likes of Iwa, and any other enemies the Yondaime may have made, said Kisame, while Itachi shook his head. That is true. It was done in part to protect him from the Yondaime's enemies, but being an Uzumaki is also his right by blood on his mother's side, and is the son of Uzumaki Kushina. She was the previous QB Jinchuriki before that night, when the fox attacked Konoha, said Itachi, seeing Pain's second twitch this time. What do we do now? Said Sasori curiously, knowing that all 7 Jinchuriki were in one spot while one Bijou remained free in the water with their own success in getting one extracted. We must make a plan for attacking their home, said Pain before ending their meeting abruptly and leaving the group to its own thoughts. Nagato, said Konan, as she appeared before the real man behind the form of Pain and saw him deep in thought. I'm all right, Konan. I was just thinking about what Itachi mentioned about the QB Jinchuriki, said Pain while Konan just looked at him. About him being an Uzumaki, like you are, and thus making the two of you family. Why are you thinking about this now? You knew this long before today, said Konan with Pain still thinking things over. That's not the point. The point is that I assumed he was an Uzumaki by title since the QB Jinchuriki didn't have red hair, and the Sandaime Hokage had done it out of some sense of honoring the clan. But now I know he is in fact one by blood, said Pain while letting out a tired sigh. You don't know how to handle this. Do we really want to kill him for our goal? The boy is possibly your last living relative, said Konan while Pain realized that was indeed the case and family was the one thing he had always wanted in life. Go to outer heaven, informed the QB. Inform my distant cousin that I wish to speak with him, said Pain seeing Konan's eyes widen in surprise. To talk? About what? Said Konan seeing Pain look at her and give the woman a smile. An alliance between us, not the other members of the Akatsuki. Just us and a chance to change things even further for the better, said Pain, seeing Konan understanding. I'll leave at once, said Konan, knowing the sooner she reached outer heaven, the better since a certain masked individual was getting impatient with the organization's progress. Time was of the essence.
Chapter 8: The Three Trials.
Naruto sat in meditation. His body was at rest, but his mind was at work. Inside his very mindscape there was a battle about to take place. 3 to be exact. 1 against Gray Fox, 1 against Revolver Ocelot, and 1 against Big Boss himself. Each opponent for Naruto being extremely dangerous. They taught Naruto everything they knew, every skill, form, stance, etc. Naruto was taught everything they could teach him. Naruto's mindscape. It's time, Naruto, said Big Boss with Naruto nodding, and saw the place change to the scenery that was Rokovoid Barrack.
This place seemed fitting for where the greatest of warriors go to fight their hardest and die without regret. I'm ready, Naruto replied simply with Gray Fox and Ocelot appearing while Kurama decided to be a witness to this event from his position off in the distance. I'm up first, said Gray Fox, as his having body shifted from when he human to the suit worn during the Shadow Moses incident. I'm sorry I have to kill you. Just wanted to say that in advance, said Naruto with Gray Fox cocking his head to the right slightly while letting out an amused electronic chuckle. That's funny, Naruto. I was going to say the same thing to you, Gray Fox replied in his electronic voice with both combatants wielding their HF swords in combat-ready stances. Let's give them some space, Ocelot. The last thing you want to do is get in their way and lose an arm, again, said Big Boss with Ocelot grumbling while his right arm jerked at the memory of Shadow Moses and how the cyborg ninja sliced off his limb.
Right, replied Ocelot while giving the two swordsmen their much-needed space.
Neither opponent moved. Neither one looked away. This match didn't start until the time was right. It was the way swordsmen fought one-on-one. A single action would tell them to start and no outside forces aside from that moment mattered. The two warriors never letting their eyes linger away from the other, knowing it would mean their doom if they did. A single flower petal blew in front of them, and the fight was on. The two had been so coiled in their mirrored sword stances they took a chunk the ground off when running at the other. When their blades clashed, they echoed loudly for all to hear, and sparked when scraping against the other. The two fought viciously against the other, knowing that holding back was not an option, and to do so would mean defeat.
Off on the sidelines, Big Boss along with Revolver Ocelot watched Gray Fox fighting Naruto, and had to admit, this was an intense one-on-one. The training Naruto had done with Gray Fox in the past had always increased each time. But this was not a training session, and the kid gloves, if there any, had come off in this fight. Big Boss even let a flinch happen on his face after Naruto landed a punch to Gray Fox's current metallic facial structure, and the spin kick that followed. Gray Fox countered with a kick of his own, and this time, Ocelot flinched from seeing the hit, landed on his shared student. Damn. I knew he could use a sword with deadly precision, but to hit hard enough to possibly break the enemy's jaw isn't something ignore, thought Ocelot while Naruto spit out some blood and a few teeth, though that wouldn't affect him outside of the mindscape. The two continued to fight fiercely as swords sliced through flesh, metallic skin, and other hits landed between Naruto and Gray Fox. The grassy field around them was at risk of catching on fire from the sparks they made from the clashes of their swords. In fact, one soon did, with the fire spreading around them in a circle-like manner, with Big Boss looking at Kurama and seeing the fox had manipulated it to form a ring around the two combatants.
What? It's more dramatic this way, explained Kurama with Big Boss looking at him before they turned to look at the fight between the two swordsmen speed up.
It was coming to an end.
They both had cuts all over. Some deep, some not, each bleeding from their wounds in the process. Panting heavily while getting ready for the final strike that would decide the victor of this battle.
You have grown so much since we first started training, Naruto. You have become the ideal student any teacher would desire, said Gray Fox with Naruto, smiling at him, as blood fell down the Namikaze's face from a slash mark from the HF sword his teacher landed on him, and the blood dripping from his body before staining the ground. Thanks, Gray Fox Sensei. Hearing that from you makes this all worthwhile, said Naruto, while seeing the man was also ready for the final strike same as him.
This is it, said Ocelot with Big Boss nodding since he had seen this happen before back in the day. A moment went by between the two swordsmen before they sprinted forward, moving faster than the human eye could track, and they seemed to vanish into thin air for over 10 solid seconds. They reappeared in the other's position, their backs to one another, and a sense of calmness was about them. It was shattered, however, as Naruto fell to one knee, and blood spraying everywhere from the deep diagonal cut over his torso. Gray Fox stood still for a second before he fell to his knees and his head fell backwards and rolled off his body.
Naruto had won.
We'll take a short break so you can recover, Naruto. When you're ready, Ocelot will be your next opponent in the trials, and finally myself after that, Big Boss said to Naruto, currently trying to recover mentally from the attacks Gray Fox had landed on his body. Understood, replied Naruto with the young warrior slowly healing while seeing Ocelot getting ready to fight with his guns he loved so much. Naruto had seen the man make them appear and explain to him the history of the world before the end of guns and their long-forgotten power they had over others. The different models, shapes, sizes, and ammo guns could hold, while Ocelot explained about his own personal preference was the revolver-based gun. Hence the spinning action he did with them, and how the only drawback was reloading after the chambers for the rounds had become empty. In truth, Ocelot had told Naruto that these weapons were made for short-range combat, but were also used as a last resort against enemies when longer-ranged guns were either empty, or not in reach to be used. Naruto would have to remember that when he faced Ocelot.
Outside Naruto's mindscape. "How is he?" asked Fu, while Hinata was putting a cold wet towel over her husband's head.
Hinata had found Naruto slumped on the ground, his body burning up, and it was clear his body was in pain despite no outward physical appearances. The Hyuga woman had rushed him to the hospital of Outer Heaven, and word spread to the others about their leader being out of commission for an unknown amount of time. Hinata of course knew this was the start of trials that Naruto had been preparing for since he had told her in advance along with the others, though it was clear this trial to become the next big boss was taking a lot out of him.
"He's burning up. He's showing signs of being in a vicious battle, but showing no signs on his body getting hurt," answered Hinata while seeing Naruto's body go tense. "Relax, and then tense again under the strain of being injured in combat while in combat." "How long is this expected to last?" asked Roshi, seeing Naruto's face become covered in a heavy sweat. "I don't know. It all depends on the trials he's having with his senseis," explained Hinata, since she along with the others were told about the three masters of warfare in Naruto's mind by the Namikaze himself.
"They aren't pulling any punches on him during these trials, are they?" asked Han, seeing Hinata looking uncertain since she didn't know them personally. "I don't believe they were going to go easy on him from the start. Naruto-kun's teachers each took their own training very seriously. No punches were pulled by their teachers," answered Hinata, since Naruto had told her quite a bit about them.
"It must be some pretty serious shit to do this to him," stated Taiwe, with her seeing him breathing heavier with each passing moment.
"Yes, it must be serious," said Hinata while watching Naruto's body struggle to overcome this, and could only imagine what was going on within his mind.
Naruto's mindscape. "You're fast, boy. But you can only dodge my bullets for so long," stated Ocelot, using every trick in the book he knew regarding his guns to land a hit on Naruto.
He was having an overall success rate of 25% with his bullets hitting Naruto in the leg, his right shoulder, lower torso, and even grazed the side of the neck. Still, Naruto was proving to be one tough bastard, not unlike Big Boss himself when they had their moments, and the kid's skills with the HF sword more than helped compensate for what the trees couldn't in terms of protection. Ocelot would use the age-old skill of having his bullets ricochet off the trees, but Naruto used his weapon to block the metal projectiles, and avoiding serious injury, for the most part. "I only have to dodge or deflect them until you run out," replied Naruto while throwing his voice to be in another place to confuse Ocelot on where to fire. It worked twice before, but the old war veteran caught onto him, and Naruto knew he would be hesitant to jump the gun in firing where the voice came from. So rather than play into Naruto's hands, Ocelot took this time to reload, since he was in fact out of ammo from the revolver in his hands, and drew another before putting away the previous one.
"Come on out, boy. You can't hide for long. Sooner or later, your wounds will get the better of you. If not, the blood trail you're leaving will help me pinpoint your location, and I'll put a bullet between your eyes. Don't think I won't. It's kill or be killed here," said Ocelot before hearing movement behind him, and fired 2 quick shots to ensure that if one missed, the other would hit some form of flesh. Only to see that he had fired at nothing. He had been played.
"You replaced your footing for a killing stroke," said Naruto before he appeared from Ocelot's right side and cut off the man's right arm at the elbow. "Ah, not again," yelled Ocelot, as he clutched his stump, and fell to his knees in pain before looking up to see Naruto preparing for the killing stroke. And with a quick horizontal slice, Revolver Ocelot was no more.
2 down. 1 to go, said Naruto while taking this moment to mourn the loss of his second sensei, and say a small, quiet apology to the man, even though it was a necessary thing. Later. Only when you're fully healed to fight me will we have our war, said Big Boss while watching Ocelot's body dissolve away, like dust in the wind. I'm sorry. I know how close you were to those two, said Naruto with Big Boss nodding slightly. And since the boy took no pleasure from this?
Killing should never be pleasurable in Big Boss's eyes.
Naruto agreed with him. Outside Naruto's mindscape, Hinata sighed in relief when Naruto's sudden fever broke, and he opened his eyes to see her sitting beside him. The Namikaz smiled at Hinata, and she did the same while the other women in the room glared at him for making them worry so much. Hey, Hinata-chan, said Naruto with a sore throat for a voice, before Hinata gave him some water. I'm glad you're awake, Naruto-kun. Are the 3 trials over? Asked Hinata with Naruto shaking his head. No. You baka, you had us worried. If you weren't taking this dumbass trials, I'd kick you in the balls, said Anko while shaking her fist at him. I'll keep that in mind in the future, Anko-chan. As to your answer, Hinata-chan, I have one more to go, and it's against Big Boss himself, answered Naruto with Hinata, looking a tad worried since she had heard him talk about Big Boss being the Grand Master of sorts between the 3 of them. The leader of the trio, said Hinata with Naruto, nodding his head, and he saw her worried expression. Yeah, this is just small reprieve until we do battle, answered Naruto, though his tone of voice told everyone in the room he was ready. Bring him down, Naruto-sama, said Roshi with Han nodding. We have faith in you being the victor of this outcome, stated Han with Naruto, smirking at the two. You better not lose, Naruto, or you're going to deal with me afterwards, stated Anko with Naruto letting out a weak chuckle.
You always did know what to say to motivate me, Anko-chan, replied Naruto before he closed his eyes and went back to the battlefield awaiting him.
Damn right I do, said Anko with a grin on her face. Naruto's mindscape. Are you ready? Asked Big Boss with Naruto nodding. They were both unarmed, but that was the whole point of this final battle. This wasn't a fight involving guns, swords, running, shooting, stabbing, slicing, or striking down your enemy. This was a fight using only your arms, legs, feet, hands, and basically your body to its fully potential, as a living weapon. Bring it, replied Naruto, as the two were now in CQC stance, and both were determined to come out of this the victor.
Even though there could be only one winner in this.
I won't hold back, stated Big Boss with Naruto nodding, while a smirk appeared on his face.
You wouldn't be much of a sensei if you did, answered Naruto with Big Boss nodding in agreement.
With the talking over, the two engaged in hand-to-hand combat, and Kurama just watched them fight with great interest. Since the 3 masters of warfare came into his vessel's life, Kurama had come to respect them, and Naruto to the extent where he told the boy his true name. Naruto had earned his respect for putting up with years of abuse, the lies, and fighting to bring about some form of peace to the elemental countries.
And killing one of the few Uchiha left in the world didn't hurt either. The two fighters continued their seemingly never-ending battle, which almost looked like a dance of sorts between them, and was truly a remarkable display of skill. Each got in a few hits to the ribs, face, and the lower back. Big Boss was clearly using his countless years of experience to his advantage, while Naruto was using his greater abundance of energy and agility to counter this. At the rate they were fighting in the flowery white petal-laced field, things could go either way, and Kurama honestly thought this battle was going to be close. Battles between a teacher and student usually were if the student was strong enough. He's gotten better, thought Big Boss while trying to land hits, block those Naruto tried to land on him, or counter with moves of his own. Damn it, I can barely landed a hit. He knows every block, move, and counter move I'll make against him. I need to outsmart Big Boss or else I'll tire myself out and he'll be able to counter me, thought Naruto, as he was finding few openings, and it would only be a matter of time before Big Boss went on the offensive against him. Leaping back, Naruto decided to let Big Boss make the next move since the Namikaze's own offense wasn't working, and see what the man would do with this change. Within seconds of going defensive, Big Boss went on the offensive, and began to push against Naruto with everything he had. With each passing second, Big Boss was gaining ground, and Naruto was losing his footing from his action to go defensive. Come on Naruto, I trained you to endure this kind of punishment with your eyes closed. So, endure it, exclaimed Big Boss, landing several hits to the younger man's face and aimed to hit him with a spin kick. Before Naruto caught the leg and quickly broke it with a hard elbow where the kneecap was located before landing a solid right to Big Boss's face. The man hobbled back while nursing his jaw and realized he had moved too quickly on the offensive since believing Naruto's decision to go defensive meant his student was low on energy. He played his hand too soon and now Naruto had landed a hit which left Big Boss open to an assault by the blonde. Clever move, Kit. A good strategy if I ever saw one, said Kurama, though it was more to himself while seeing Naruto take full advantage of the opening and began land more hits on Big Boss with each passing moment. Naruto continued attacking Big Boss without mercy. He knew that any hesitation on his part would give Big Boss a chance to defend himself. Deep down though, Naruto wanted to stop, his mind telling him this was Big Boss he was hurting, and should stop this. His sensei, friend, advisor, comrade, and surrogate father figure was being pummeled by his own hands. But Naruto couldn't stop. In a fight to the death like this, you don't stop until your opponent is dead, or you are at the enemy's hands. Before Naruto knew it, he was behind Big Boss, his arm wrapped around the man's neck, and was trying to break it. Big Boss himself was trying to throw Naruto off of him, but the beating his body had taken was too much, and for a moment, he thought the boss was standing barely 10 feet from him. It's time, Jack. Time to come back to me. We're all waiting for you.
I'm coming, Joy. Soon we can be a family again, thought Big Boss, as he closed his eyes while accepting his soon-to-be death, and stopped fighting Naruto's attempt to kill him. With a loud snap that echoed throughout the field of battle, Naruto had successfully killed Big Boss and completed the proverbial passing of the torch. Within seconds of letting the dead man's body fall to the ground, Naruto realized what he had done, and the horror behind his achievement made him feel sick. In a way, these 3 trials made him almost as bad as a member of the Uchiha clan killing his best friend for the next stage of the Sharingan, or Orochimaru killing his former sensei.
I'm not worthy of friendship, stated Naruto with tears running down his face, as he saw the body of Big Boss dissolve like the others, and looked at Kurama to see the fox look back at him with sorrow.
You are better than the Uchiha clan and Orochimaru Kit. Unlike them, you feel the grief and the guilt that comes from the death of those you care about. You do not do it for power or revenge against them. You did it because that was how they wanted things to happen. These trials were to the death, and they knew this. They gave it everything they had to push you beyond your limitations, and died knowing you had succeeded them in everything they taught you, explained Kurama with Naruto, nodding since that was just like them. You think I'll see them again one day? Asked Naruto with Kurama nodding. You are their family, Kit. When the time comes to pass on, they will await you with open arms, answered Kurama with Naruto, smiling now with tears running down his face. Thanks, Kurama, said Naruto with the fox smirking at him. Anytime, Kit. Anytime, replied Kurama while the warrior left his mindscape for the outside world. Outside world. Naruto-kun, exclaimed Hinata as she saw Naruto open his eyes, or rather his right eye since the left one was covered by the eye patch. Hi, Hinata-chan, said Naruto with a smile, though it felt empty to him. The trials are over, aren't they? Asked Hinata, but she saw in his eye that they were, and the death of each teacher hurt him. Yeah, they're now officially over. I am now worthy of the title, Big Boss, answered Naruto with Hinata nodding while her smile was that of a gentle yet sad smile. When hearing of the loss Naruto just suffered, I'll let everyone know. We're all glad to see you pass the trials. Big Boss, said Han before he left the room with Roshi giving Naruto a respectful nod. And so it begins, stated Naruto, though it was more to himself than to the others in the room.
Do you want to be alone, Naruto-kun? Asked Anko, who decided her lover needed a more compassionate version of herself, and not the crazy psycho everyone else had come to know outside of the family.
No, I don't want to be alone. Stay with me, please, replied Naruto, his voice pleading with them to stay him, and be his rock against this time of grief. After hearing the pain that was there, Hinata, Anko, and the other girls in the room were now holding on to him while helping the man deal with this painful loss.
Outer Heaven HQ Naruto's office. Naruto sat at his desk and looking at some recent reports regarding the current state of the elemental countries. The world was stabilizing, slowly of course, but it was definitely heading in the right direction. Taking out a cigar, which he learned how to make during his time with Big Boss teaching him, the now proclaimed Big Boss of Outer Heaven, and the elemental countries lit the object before taking a deep intact with the smoke leaving a few moments later out the air vent. His wives didn't like him smoking around them and he loved each one too much to let the smell of these ruin their happy moods.
Or, when they are in the mood. These were his, I'm thinking deeply, while working cigars that took the stress out of life, and were one of the few private joys he had when working. You are a hard man to get a hold of, Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto, said Conan, after she appeared once several hundred pieces of paper came together and formed the blue-haired woman.
Considering my enemies and assassins trying to kill me to make a name for themselves, I would think you of all people would understand why. Conan of the Akatsuki, replied Naruto while blowing smoke from his cigar out of his mouth.
So you know who I am, Conan shot back with Naruto looking at her with his one eye. You would be surprised on just who is spying on your group. Though something tells me you already know who it is, said Naruto with Conan nodding.
That's correct. The spy's name is Uchiha Itachi. He reports to Jiraiya of the Sannin, who reports to the Hokage of Konoha, and the woman in turn relays the information to you, explained Conan with Naruto smirking.
I'm impressed. How long have you known? Or rather, have you always known? Asked Naruto, seeing Conan gouging him carefully. We've known since he first started. While Itachi may be strong, we felt his killing of the entire clan to be questionable. There should have been more than one survivor that night, and no general alarm had been raised when the killing started. There was also the fact that certain pieces of information was only known to the Akatsuki's most highest-ranked members, and was given to Konoha was also key to what we knew to be true, explained Conan while Naruto just nodded his head while he digested this information.
Do you think Jiraiya knew? Asked Naruto with Conan thinking for a moment.
We suspected at some point that he did, but didn't care to do anything about it, and just intended to have Itachi keep spying on us until his usefulness ran out. The Uchiha is a wanted man after all, and could not find sanctuary anywhere in the world for what he is accused of doing, answered Conan while seeing Naruto narrow his eye at her.
So if Konoha or another shinobi village's forces don't kill him, the Akatsuki would in their place. You could make up anything you wanted and no one could dispute. Konoha couldn't, since they would have to explain their own hand in Itachi killing the Uchiha clan. Yes, I know the truth about that night, just as I'm sure you do. It's not surprising when you think about it, explained Naruto with Conan nodding, since she along with Pain knew the truth about that night. Yes, that is indeed correct. However, the reason I am here is not to talk about Uchiha spies, or their handlers that pass along the gathered information. I am here to talk about you, and Pain, replied Conan with Naruto narrowing his eyes again.
I see. And what does Pain want? My surrender. The surrender of every Jinchuriki here. The surrender of the three-tailed Baiju that was once in the previous Mizukage of Mist, and has agreed to guard our shores. The next words you speak, Conan-san, may very well be your last, said Naruto with his cigar in his right hand in between his index and middle fingers. No. He wants an alliance between you and him, answered Conan with Naruto, looking at her with suspicion and surprise showing in his eyes. Isn't it a little counterproductive for the Akatsuki organization to form an alliance with Outer Heaven? Asked Naruto with Conan shaking her head. Not with the Akatsuki, with him. With Pain, countered Conan with Naruto looking even more suspicious now at her. And why would I wish to ally myself with the one leading an organization seeking to extract all 9 of the Biju from their Jinchuriki? If I agreed, it would mean I'm betraying the others, and I will tell you right now I would sooner die," stated Naruto with a great deal of conviction in his voice that told Conan he would die before betraying the other Jinchuriki. "What if I told you that by allying with Pain, you can take down the Akatsuki? That you would gain a long-lost family member from your mother's side of the family?" asked Conan with Naruto's eyes widening before they narrowed dangerously.
As in, I'm going to kill you if I suspect something foul with your choice of words, kind of dangerously.
"You are holding a member of the Uzumaki clan hostage?" asked Naruto while not really caring about the organization or taking it down.
Family was more important.
"No. The member of the Uzumaki clan I'm speaking about is Pain himself. His real name is Uzumaki Nagato. He is from AIM like myself. We were found by Jiraiya many years ago, and he trained us in the shinobi arts to the point where we could defend ourselves," explained Conan before telling Naruto how things came to be regarding the Akatsuki organization, and the man influencing things from the shadows as the true leader of the organization. "I see. Did Jiraiya know Nagato is an Uzumaki?" asked Naruto with Conan nodding. He knew. Jiraiya would not be as skilled as shinobi if he didn't know or suspect that Nagato was a lost member of the Uzumaki clan, replied Conan with Naruto seething in anger at the Sannin being so stupid in letting a member of the Uzumaki clan be left alone after some minor training to survive.
He should have taken Nagato, Conan, and even Yahiko to Konoha where they could have grown up with better lives. Unless
he did it on purpose, stated Naruto with Conan frowning at him. "I don't understand," said Conan with Naruto letting out a sigh.
Jiraiya didn't take Nagato with him because you and your other friend Yahiko would have gone too. If Nagato grew up in Konoha with his bloodline, he could have possibly prevented this Tobi character from coming after my mother, and she would have had another Uzumaki aside from herself to help not feel so alone. He couldn't risk there being another Uzumaki outside of my mother and made sure she never knew about Nagato in the slightest, explained Naruto with Conan's eyes widening at the thought.
How many people could have become our friends? How would things have turned out had we been raised in Konoha? Would Nagato gotten along with Kushina? Would he have been able to stop Tobi or stop the Kyuubi from getting out of her the night Naruto was born? Thought Conan with so many questions and possibilities opening up to her. His usefulness to Konoha is now over. I have put up with the man long enough, Conan. Do you swear to me that this alliance between myself and Nagato is the genuine thing? Asked Naruto with Conan nodding. I swear it. Nagato told me to see you about this alliance and to discuss the matter of dealing with the members of the Akatsuki before focusing on Tobi. He is very powerful and cannot be taken lightly, answered Conan with Naruto smirking at her. Tell Nagato, I've got his back when it comes to liquidating the Akatsuki organization. And if everything turns out the way I hope, he's got himself a long-lost family member that will never betray him to anyone, explained Naruto seeing Conan nod, before she turned into multiple stacks of paper and flew out the nearby window.
The only thing indicating she was even in Naruto's office was the origami crane she left on his desk.
Chapter 9. Peace. At last.
Naruto stared at the origami crane for a second before picking it up and thought about what Conan told him. He knew Pain was an Uzumaki before Conan confirmed it for him, but he didn't want her to know that he knew that fact, and wanted things to be confirmed by his supposed enemy. There was no lying, and Conan and Naruto knew that she loved the tormented Uzumaki man behind the image of Pain. The Namikaze thought about what had happened to the poor man and what could have been if Jiraiya had not been such a fearful moron in letting someone like Nagato not be part of Konoha. To give Nagato the feeling of family with the long-lost member of the Uzumaki clan that was Kushina and Naruto's mother being there. Naruto knew so many possibilities from this action had been closed off, and it upset the man how Jiraiya had screwed his family over that far back.
Roshi-han? Please come into my office, said Naruto into the communication system on his desk, and within a few moments before his two fellow Jinchuriki came in. Something wrong. Big boss, asked Roshi, with both Han and himself sitting down in chairs before the leader of Outer Heaven. I need your honest opinion about this dilemma. I'm in. I can't go to Fu, Gaara, or Yugito because they doesn't have enough experience. Killer B will just rap poorly to the point where I'll have a strong desire to become violent, explained Naruto with, of his fellow Jinchuriki, looking at each other and then back at him. What's the problem? Asked Han before Naruto explained to them about Pain seeking to break away from the Akatsuki with an alliance with Naruto, and help Outer Heaven win against the organization by liquidating it. Part of me wants to keep Jiraiya alive a little bit longer to help make sure the Akatsuki organization become completely removed. However, I'm suspicious of Jiraiya possibly betraying us and letting a few within the organization slip through the cracks. Should I have him removed from play sooner or later? Asked Naruto, with Han and Roshi thinking over what he just told them. He's a threat to everyone, Big Boss. With his incredible knowledge of the sealing arts, his sage mode and spy network, Jiraiya of the Sannin could be a threat to us when this war with the Akatsuki is over. He must be removed, answered Han, with Naruto nodding at his response, and then looking to Roshi for his opinion. Jiraiya of the Sannin is a strong individual. If we remove him now, we risk a key figure granting us victory over the Akatsuki. We also risk the organization getting bolder with the Sannin removed before we can crush them. Still, he is a threat to us, and to not even acknowledge it would be foolish, answered Roshi, with Naruto nodding in agreement, since Jiraiya still had value to the fight against the Akatsuki. One for Jiraiya living and the other for his death. Both of you have presented reasonable facts for each side, with Roshi even admitting that Jiraiya is still a threat, regardless if his value as an ally is there. I know for a fact that Pain wishes to leave the Akatsuki. I know he is an Uzumaki. I know he possibly more powerful than Jiraiya and possesses the Rinnegan eyes. Jiraiya's loyalty in this war has long since been put into question, as he has leaked information to his spy in the Akatsuki about Outer Heaven, and with the explicit intent of hurting us. In my eyes, I find the trade-off of Jiraiya of the Sannin dying for Uzumaki Nagato, and his partner Konan joining us is too good an offer to pass up, said Naruto, with the two nodding in agreement. Will the others be told about this? Asked Roshi, with Naruto shaking his head. No. The fewer people who know about this decision, the better. I hate keeping the others in the dark, but they might not understand or disagree with the decision. However, I will change that part of the plan if you feel I should let them know, explained Naruto, with the two looking at each other for a moment. We shouldn't keep this from them. If we keep secrets from them, they will distrust us, and you even more, said Roshi, with Han nodding in agreement. Very true. Still, you can understand why I'm favoring the idea of keeping them out of this situation, asked Naruto, with Han and Roshi nodding. We do. All the same, keeping secrets from them is not healthy, and while you are the leader of Outer Heaven, we all deserve to be trusted to know about every decision you make. If there is anyone who disagrees with your decision, they will make it known, and stated their reasons behind the choice, answered Roshi, with Naruto nodding and finding the man's words held a great deal of weight to them. Again, you make a valid point. I don't want to keep secrets from them either. It makes me almost as bad as the Sandaime Hokage or Jiraiya of the Sannin, said Naruto, with Han and Roshi smiling, since they felt telling the others about this was the wisest course of action regarding his decision. You are a good leader, Big Boss, said Han, with Naruto smirking at him. That's only because I have people like you two and the others to help me in that regard, replied Naruto, with the two smirking back. Konoha days later. Hey, Tsunadeheim. How is everything? Asked Jiraiya, with Tsunade looking over some of her paperwork and a message from Naruto. Everything is fine on my end of things, Jiraiya. Though I can't say the same for you right now, answered Tsunade, with Jiraiya frowning before he saw her make hand signs and saw the room went into lockdown. Something only a Hokage could do when involved in having a top-secret meeting at the highest level, for some personal alone time after doing so much paperwork, or, in some extreme cases, kill someone without them being allowed to escape. Jiraiya wondered if one of his fantasies was going to come true between himself and Tsunade. while in this very office. However, he saw the eyes the woman had on him, and knew that the woman's intentions for him had nothing to do with sexual pleasure of the flesh. Your value in this war with the Akatsuki is not longer high? Jiraiya of the Sannin, stated Naruto after appearing from the shadows of the room with his HF sword drawn. I see. So you're cashing me out, huh? Asked Jiraiya while seeing Naruto and Tsunade nod. Conan helped confirm what we already knew. She and Nagata want to liquidate the Akatsuki and join what is left of the Uzumaki clan in Outer Heaven, answered Naruto while Jiraiya's eyes widened slightly at hearing the two names from the past. I haven't heard those names in years. So they are alive, stated Jiraiya while Tsunade just scowled at him. You left a member of the Uzumaki clan that place. You could have taken them with you back to Konoha. You just left them there knowing one of them was family to Kushina, exclaimed Tsunade passionately now, with Jiraiya looking at her with deadly serious eyes. What do you want me to say, Tsunade? That I'm sorry. That I should have just taken him and the others with me. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you because I'm not going to say. I'm sorry. Sure, Nagata was of Uzumaki blood, but we already had one in Kushina, and didn't need another. Or those other two orphans with him. Kushina needed to be loyal to Konoha, not to her nearly dead clan. She would have taken off to find him or brought him here. If that happened, she would have been allowed to rebuild her clan, and keep the Kyuubi within it all within the clan. It was too great a risk after what happened with the Uchiha clan and Madara. Sarutobi-sensei thought so too, which was why he ordered me to keep my mouth shut to Kushina, and Minato to a lesser extent. I had to do what needed to be done in terms controlling Kushina and preventing Kyuubi from leaving Konoha in the event the woman decided to leave, to find any other stray Uzumaki clan members, explained Jiraiya with Tsunade seething at his words, while Naruto watched him carefully with calculating eyes. And Karen's parents, they were Uzumaki too. They died in a fire caused by an invasion. She had their journal telling of how they contacted Konoha about Kushina, and asking to secretly come join the village. They grew concerned when Konoha didn't answer back with a response when they knew it would reach the village, said Naruto with Jiraiya growling slightly while seeing Tsunade looking I took it to the Sandang. It was just months before his retirement and weeks before my former teammate's betrayal. Like with Nagato, he didn't want any remaining survivors of the Uzumaki clan to pop up and become a powerful force within Konoha. We needed to control the power of Kyuubi, and we wouldn't be able to do that if Kushina had members of the Uzumaki clan alive to support her, explained Jiraiya with Tsunade, looking livid when hearing that. So screw the Uzumaki clan in the name of power and control. Allies mean nothing to you like it did the old man. Use them until they have nothing left to give and throw them away without so much as a thank you, stated Naruto with Jiraiya scowling at him. It's the way of the world. Friendships between people in high places does not exist. Only politics and the value of being friends with those in high places is what counts. I lost any and all desire to help out my friends after everything I've gone through. Friendships with others is an archaic concept that shouldn't be embraced in this day and age. If you were smart like me, then you would accept this too, and do the same, explained Jiraiya with Naruto letting out small hollow chuckle. Says the fool who only thinks only with his tiny dick, said Naruto with Jiraiya seething at the insult. Shut your mouth, boy. Your father gave me far more respect, Jiraiya shot back with Naruto scoffing at him. I doubt it. Between your lecherous ways and leeching off people, it's enough to make anyone want to kick your ass, replied Naruto with Jiraiya looking furious at him. I trained your father to be the best, and he surpassed my expectation. You went against the principles of village, disrespected my sensei, dishonored your family, and speak of things you don't understand? Jiraiya shot back. And what did you train me, his only son mind you, in when it comes to the shinobi arts you're so proud of? Nothing. Nothing. You disrespected my father. You betrayed the very principles of this village, and as for your so-called sensei, fuck him, Naruto said with Jiraiya charging at him with the intent to kill. Die, you damn brat! Exclaimed Jiraiya, as he had enough of Naruto's words and hurtful remarks against him for his actions. Naruto dodged the open palm with the Rasengan in it. Naruto knew the Sannin was going for a quick kill. The sooner Jiraiya had taken him down, the better it was in his warped mind. Naruto knew that Jiraiya knew that Tsunade would try to stop him within moments of his actions in fighting their shared godson. Naruto himself got under Jiraiya's guard as he smashed his elbow into the Sannin's ribs and hit the man in the face with the butt of the HF sword's hilt. It was followed up with a knee to Jiraiya's chin, then an open palm to the Sannin's face while leaping over him with that momentum, and brought the HF sword down for the death blow. Only for Jiraiya to substitute with a piece of furniture at the last moment. You were so blinded by grief, fear, and maybe even the prospect of power of the fox in my gut back when I was younger. It's hard to imagine the great Jiraiya of the Sannin being reduced to this weak thing I see before me. I honestly don't know who is more pathetic in my eyes, you, Danzo, or Okamaru, Hiruzen. Or maybe it's this Tobi character that leads the Akatsuki organization from the shadows. Questioned Naruto with Jiraiya sneering at him with a bloody face before spitting some of it out of his mouth. You shut your mouth, brat! Exclaimed Jiraiya before being hit by Tsunade in the face and sent him into the wall. How about I shut your mouth for you, Jiraiya? Asked Tsunade after feeling the jaw of her former teammates being shattered. Damn you, both of you, mumbled Jiraiya with his mouth spewing blood and teeth with a massive bruise on the side of his face where Tsunade's fist hit him. Damn us! No, damn you! Damn you, Jiraiya of the Sannin! One of the legendary three who fought Salamander Hanzo, one of the 3 students taught by the Sandaime Hokage himself, sensei of the Yondaime Hokage of Konoha. Friend of my father! Exclaimed Naruto with the tip of his HF sword pressing against Jiraiya's neck. You forgot to mention that I'm your godfather. You can't do this to me. It goes against the Uzumaki clan way to kill off family. Jiraiya shot back, though it was a bit difficult with blood falling out of his mouth like a waterfall. You were never a part of my family in any sense, Jiraiya. You left me to fight for myself and made sure those that were meant to take care of me never did. Why should I consider you a part of my family when you don't deserve that honor? Asked Naruto while bringing his HF sword up to slice the man clean in two at the skull. Because the Yondaime was my son, answered Jiraiya, much to the shock of the two in front of him. Explain. Or at least try to with the way your mouth is right now, commanded Tsunade, while Naruto still kept his sword raised to strike the Sannin down. Minato's mother was a good friend of mine I knew since the academy. She was a shinobi of average potential from what I saw of her abilities when there. She became what you might consider to be a friend with benefits. I came to embrace after so many strikeouts and getting a date with Tsunade, explained Jiraiya with the Hokage scoffing at him. You mean striking out and successfully getting into my pants? Tsunade shot back with Jiraiya shrugging like he didn't care at this point. Whatever. The point is, she felt pity on me one day after a harsh form of rejection from you, and one thing led to another. Soon after, we would hook up in secret after one, or both of us had a long, tiring mission. We would joke, laugh, and she'd occasionally hit me for being a pervert like you. But when we were in the mood, she was every bit the pervert I was, and even suggested I go into writing to become a great author on the side. After she got pregnant from our last encounter together, her family disowned her, and she died in the hospital giving birth to Minato. They didn't want anything to do with him, so he went to the orphanage, explained Jiraiya with Naruto, narrowing his one-seeable eye at him. Why didn't you take care of him? Claim to be the father? Asked Naruto with Jiraiya just scoffing. Because I didn't love him like a son. As student, yes. What I had between him and his mother was strictly friendship with a side of physical lust. I would train Minato as his sensei, but I would not raise that boy as my son, and we are all better off for it, Jiraiya said before Tsunade grabbed his face and slammed him into the wall. You really are a piece of shit. I'm glad I turned you down for every date you asked me out on. I can only shudder to think what would happen if I had died after being knocked up and having your child, exclaimed Tsunade before throwing the man back onto the ground. What happened to my grandmother's parents? Asked Naruto with Jiraiya looking away from him. He asked you a question, Jiraiya. Answer it. Answer it right now or I'll make you wish you had the first time around, Tsunade said, while cracking her knuckles. I have nothing to say on the matter, replied Jiraiya before being hit right in the face again. Tell us, exclaimed Tsunade with Jiraiya. Being silent, and the woman began to wail on him until Naruto put a hand on her shoulder. Stop. I know what happened to them, said Naruto simply with Tsunade looking at him in surprise. What? How? Questioned Tsunade with Naruto just looking down at the bloody body of his godfather. And now grandfather. From his silence alone, I know the answer. He had them killed, said Naruto simply with Jiraiya tensing with what parts of his body still could. What? Why would he do that? Asked Tsunade, looking from Naruto to Jiraiya and then back at her godson. Because he could. The Sandaime helped you do it, did he? He made all the arrangements for their death to happen. Covered it up without anyone being the wiser. He cemented your undying loyalty with this action. He scratched your back over this problem and you scratched his when called for on this matter. This happened repeatedly since the proof of your infidelity was walking around to one day rise up through the shinobi ranks until he became Yondaime Hokage. Your son became the leader of the Leaf Village, and you did not even tell him the truth before his death that night of my birth. All there was between the two of you was the bond of teacher and student, not that of a father and a son. You were ashamed despite the greatness of your son. You feared what would happen if people knew, even after my father was old enough to understand, and possibly be forgiving of your actions. Answered Naruto with Tsunade, looking hatefully at Jiraiya on the ground, with a disfigured face scowling at her. Some father? Some grandfather? Exclaimed Tsunade before kicking Jiraiya in the ribs for each emphasized word. He's no father of my father. He's no grandfather of mine, stated Naruto before moving Tsunade away, put his foot on Jiraiya's neck, and stabbed the man with his HF sword in the temple region. What now? Asked Tsunade with Naruto removing his weapon, flicking the blood and brains off of it before sheathing the HF sword. Now comes the beginning of the end for the Akatsuki, answered Naruto coldly. Akatsuki HQ 2 weeks later. Toby knew something was wrong. He could sense something was off the entire week. It felt like his enemies were closing in on him. The entire base was quiet. Too quiet. The other remaining members of the Akatsuki were nowhere to be found. The statue holding the one bijou they had acquired was gone, and wondered what Pain was up to with Conan. Normally the two of them talked strategy, but recently things between the two had gotten put to a complete standstill, and Toby suspected their partnership was at an end. Looking for someone? Asked Naruto, as he appeared from the shadows and stared at the man proclaiming himself to be Uchiha Madara. How pathetic. You! How did you get in here? Demanded Toby, since he wasn't expecting the man with the title of the big boss of Outer Heaven to be here. Not yet anyway, that was only to extract the QB from the man's body. How indeed, answered Naruto with a hint of amusement in his voice. Pain, Toby said simply, like it was the most obvious answer. And Itachi, you really should have killed him sooner. Once I told him about Jiraiya's death, and the offer to join Outer Heaven. Well, the man simply had no reason to stay, said Naruto with Toby's one eye narrowing at him. And Pain? Asked Toby with Naruto smirking at him. Uzumaki, Nagato is family. Family does not betray family. You would know that if you still had any. Do you still have any, or have you just forgotten? Asked Naruto, seeing Toby tilt his head slightly to the right. I'm a nobody. I've forgotten what my true name was long ago. Along with any family I may have had before now, answered Toby with Naruto shaking his head. Is that why you created the Moon Eye plan? To become a god and detach yourself from the rest of humanity. With no family, friends, or any basic regret for your past actions, it would be easy for you to just rule over all of us while controlling our lives, without any form of sympathy for those you hurt. How can you hurt others and not feel anything? Are you that empty inside? Are you so soulless that you would kill countless people just to rule over and dictate the lives of many more without caring? Asked Naruto with Toby narrowing his Sharingan eye at him. You don't know anything, boy, exclaimed Toby with Naruto just staring back. I know enough to know you are a spiteful man. A spiteful man who had nothing in life growing up and wants what others have. You hate that people have what you don't. You can't stand it. It eats you up inside. People have family, friends, and real names that aren't taken from someone else long dead. You have nothing, but want everything, and yet don't know what to do with it. Hence, why you want the Moon Eye plan to succeed. You will have complete control over their lives, their wants, their happiness, and just to spite them all, you'd rip it all away from the very people you intend over. You are a spiteful child in man's body with a god complex, stated Naruto, with Toby looking pissed off despite the mask covering his face. And what about you, boy? After all the things you've done against Konoha and taking all of the Jinchuriki away from the shinobi village, how are you any different from me and what I've done, QB Jinchuriki? Shot back Toby with Naruto smirking. How am I different? I'm different because I have people I care about. I have loved ones, family, friends, and a name I am proud to call my own with a few other names, rightfully earned. I don't drain Jinchuriki of the Byaiju to put into a statue, and then throw away the dead bodies like they were trash. I don't claim to be someone I'm not. I didn't manipulate a Mizukage with the Sharingan eye to start the bloodline civil war and missed. I didn't try to interfere with the pregnancy of a female Jinchuriki, and then hold a minute-old child in my arms with the body of the infant being covered with explosive tags. I didn't rip the QB out of the woman and use my Sharingan eye to make the fox go on a rampage. Do you want me to keep going because I can? Said Naruto with Toby growling at him. Enough. I'm sick of you and your actions against me. You have denied my right to rule over these mindless insects. They have no direction. They have no stability. I could give it to them. I still can, exclaimed Toby with Naruto shaking his head.
You can't even remember your true name. How can you give them direction or stability if you can't even do that? Asked Naruto with Toby removing his mask to reveal the dark and slightly gray-haired man with a face that looked like an Uchiha glaring at him. Simple. I am an Uchiha, said Toby with Naruto tilting his head slightly to the right.
You don't remember your real name, but you know you're an Uchiha? Asked Naruto while seeing Toby smirked at him.
My Sharingan eyes are proof of it, explained Toby with Naruto shaking his head.
Maybe you are an Uchiha, but who is to say they weren't implanted and you were able to return them to normal? Especially if that room filled with their eyes I saw as any kind of indication. You have no real proof that you are an Uchiha. I can even think of several ways to discredit the claim of you being an Uchiha. So, in truth, you have no real way to actually prove you're an Uchiha, Naruto simply said with Toby, looking livid at hearing that horrible truth.
Shut up, exclaimed Toby with Naruto laughing at him.
Or what? Is little Toby going to cry? Is he going to throw a temper tantrum? Do you want a bottle, little baby? Asked Naruto mockingly with Toby charging him, sword drawn, and the two began to slug it out via Kenjutsu. I'll kill you! I'll kill you after I rip Kyuubi out of your body and make him attack outer heaven. I'll destroy all you love and cherish. I'll make everyone you care about die slow agonizing deaths and make them know how you died by my hands, exclaimed Toby as he blocked Naruto's HF sword and dodged several slash attempts with the HF dagger. You have to defeat me first, Toby-Tim. Naruto countered as he outmaneuvered Toby's sword strikes and landed a kick to the man's ribs. What? He hit me? That's not possible. My Sharingan eyes should be preventing that, thought Toby while seeing Naruto smirking at him.
Surprised I hit you. You shouldn't be considering my new friends told me of your little dimensional rift you caused to travel and prevent being hit. While you were away doing some Akatsuki-related business, Nagato along with Conan, and myself put seals all over the place, this underground shithole you call a base, to neutralize all forms of dimensional shifting. Meaning that when you get hit, you're going to get hit hard. Explained Naruto, with Toby looking even more pissed off.
Die! Exclaimed Toby, as he couldn't use jutsus because Naruto was doing everything in his power to keep the distance between them short, and any attempt of using a jutsu at this point would result in getting fatally injured. The two fought viciously against one another, with the battle going from kenjutsu to taijutsu, when both knocked their enemies' weapons away. Toby was finding this situation was not to his liking, as he found himself once more being pushed back by Naruto, and his skills with CQC. Toby had read the report on Naruto's skills, and had been trying to devise a means to counter them all. Sadly, the timing of his enemy being here was not expected, and didn't expect Pain to surrender the Akatsuki to his kin on a silver platter.
A hard spin kick to the head sent Toby flying back and hitting the ground just as hard.
You are so weak, it's pathetic. Nagato should have killed you years ago, stated Naruto while walking toward the downed and supposed Shiha. Weak! Weak! How can I be weak when I have the power to be any place I want in mere moments? I have the power to influence the Bijou to go on a rampage, exclaimed Toby, with Naruto letting out a chuckle.
You also have the power to be a whiny bitch, but that's beside the point right now. What I'm referring to is you being so weak when fighting me right now. You have no one to fight for. You have no true strength. You don't fight for anyone except yourself, and that only gets you so far, explained Naruto before dodging Toba's sudden move to punch him, then the follow-up attempt, and several other fists from the shadowy leader of the now destroyed Akatsuki. Until Naruto caught the fist aiming for his face, his eyes glaring at Toby even though one of them was being blocked by the eye patch, and proceeded to painfully break the hand at the wrist. Toby fought back the urge to scream out in pain before Naruto stuck the arm of the now broken wrist and badly broke it at the elbow. This caused Toby to grunt at the feeling of his limb becoming, and felt Naruto's foot strike his head before it hit the nearby wall. Toby grabbed the leg with his one good arm and tried to push it away, but Naruto pushed back, and used his leg again to smash the man's head against the cave wall. After Naruto brought his leg down, he saw Toba's face was bleeding heavily, scars littered his face from connecting with the jagged rocks of the underground base of the Akatsuki HQ underneath AIM, and had one of his eyes closed because of it.
You think the world will know everlasting peace once I'm gone? It won't. The world will know pain, suffering, and loss from the wars that will come in the future. You may stop it should such a thing happen, but you won't live forever, and even outer heaven will fall to the hands of time, as we all must do, said Toby, as he breathed heavily now, and struggled to get up.
I don't expect everlasting peace, Toby. I never did. What I want is to change the world for the better. You wanted to change the world for your own personal greed. Wars will come and go within the elemental countries, but make no mistake when I say outer heaven will always remain to help ensure such wars don't spiral out of control regardless of the times. We will not see this world and all the people in it are not destroyed, explained Naruto, with Toby scoffing at him.
You're a fool. The world will burn without me ruling over it like a god. Only I can keep these people safe by controlling their every action, said Toby, while Naruto shot chakra strings to where his HF sword was and brought the weapon to his hand. That's not keeping them safe, Toby. That's enslavement, Naruto simply replied. If the system works, Toby shot back with a sneer. That's the problem, Toby team. It doesn't work. That's why you've lost. It's why you are about to die, replied Naruto while spinning his HF sword in his hand. I'll see you in hell, exclaimed Toby, as rushed forward to possibly take down Naruto in a last-ditch effort, but his foe was too fast, and clearly saw it coming.
A quick step back, chakra pushed to the bottom of his feet, Naruto moved forward with blinding speed, and sliced Toba's head clean off with his HF sword. Toby himself was shocked at first, since the initial act wasn't felt for a few seconds, but moments later the stinging pain of flesh being cut opening, and the icy grip of death took hold. Toby fell to his knees, clutching his throat for a second, trying to will his body to stay connected, but sadly for the fallen supposed Uchiha, gravity decided to factor into this, and the man's head detached from the rest of him.
I may one day go to hell for the things I've done. For the people I've killed and most likely will kill in the future. I don't know for sure. What I do know, however, is that level in hell you will be on will be much higher than my own. And my time in that place will be much shorter too, said Naruto to the dead body of Toby, before burning it into nothing via a fire jutsu. Outer heaven sometime later. It is done, asked Nagato, with Naruto returning with a nod that Toby was indeed gone, and AIM was now leaderless for now, until their red-haired Uzumaki returned. Yes. How are you holding up? Asked Naruto with the real man behind Pin, sitting in the hospital bed with Conan beside him. I'm feeling better. Your wife is an amazing medic, Naruto-san. Tsunade-sama taught her well, said Nagato, seeing Naruto smirk, and looked at his wife currently blushing upon eye contact with her husband. They would definitely be having some alone time later.
That my godmother did, and I'm proud of my wife's skills in healing. She's a healer first and a warrior second, but that's what I love about her, replied Naruto while seeing his loving wife go cherry red in the face.
It was always fun to make her blush. It will take a few years, but Nagato-san will regain full control of his body, and won't rely on the chair anymore, explained Hinata Nagato, smiling at the idea of being able to walk on his own 2 feet again. Conan was happy too, but for other reasons, since she wanted him mobile for other, and slightly more perverted reasons. Though she hid it well. Soon Nagato-kun will be healed to the point where we can be intimate and I can have his children. I want children, thought Conan, while the image of her and Nagato running came into her mind and followed with the army of children they would have as a result.
Conan had a lot of pent-up sexual frustration that needed to be released, and by Kami she was going to see to it that Nagato satisfied her in every way possible. The book she had secretly bought on the black market, titled, How to Tie Down Your Man and Make Him a Father of Your Children, by Nara Yoshino, was practically memorized inside her head.
That's good to hear. I want Nagato up on his feet and leading AIM down the right path, said Naruto, with Nagato smiling at him. Thank you for everything you've done for us, Big Boss Sama, said Nagato, bowing his head slightly with Naruto shaking it off. There is no need for that. We're family. Just call me Naruto, replied Naruto, since he didn't want his kin to bow down to him like that.
Very well. Conan will need to return to AIM soon to keep the peace there while I am healing here. As my second in command, she can make sure there is no anarchy, and keep the people from losing their faith in me, explained Nagato, with Naruto nodding his head in understanding.
I have no problem with that. Also, the bijou you have sealed in that statue needs to be released soon. And you are the only one who can do it. Unless, of course, you want to just blow the damn thing up, said Naruto, though the last part about blowing up the statue was offhanded. No. I mean, I can set the bijou free in a few days from the statue, said Nagato, while Naruto smirked at him, and realized the leader of Outer Heaven was messing with him. Excellent. I'll talk to you later, Nagato. Come on, Hinata. Let's give the 2 lovebirds some alone time, said Naruto, with Nagato and Conan blushing, while Hinata followed her husband out. I want you, said Hinata huskily into his ear before kissing him. And I want you. Meet me at our special place in 10 minutes, said Naruto, with Hinata looking at him hungrily. I'll be there in 5 and I'll wear the outfit you love so much, said Hinata, with Naruto grinning ear to ear. Have I told you how much I love you, Hinata-chan? Asked Naruto, with Hinata giving her own smirk.
All the time, though I'm sure you can prove it again when we're alone. See you in 5, answered Hinata while walking away with a sway to her hips.
Damn, that woman is cruel vixen for teasing me with her ass like that. She's not walking straight for the next 2 weeks, said Naruto to himself, while planning in his mind how to make his sexy wife pay for that enticing view. Oh yes. Hinata would pay, though he seriously doubted she would hate her punishment when Naruto got through with her. Epilogue 10 years later. Uzumaki, Yahiko! You get back here this instant, young man, yelled Conan, as a blur ran through outer heaven to escape the pursuit of its forces, hunting him down for the prank he pulled on Sabaku no Kankuro. The poor man fainted when he looked into a mirror and saw his face looked like that of a geisha, and the dress to match. How Yahiko did it, only an Uzumaki could figure out, but they weren't talking since they were too busy laughing, and one was on the run away from his mother. Man, I wish I learned how to scatter into paper like Mom, said Yahiko, while the red-haired boy tried fleeing the high-ranked pursuers, but was soon caught by his mother, who had appeared via scattered paper, and was now looking him right in the eyes after lifting him up. Anything to say for yourself, young man? Asked Conan with Yahiko sweating heavily under his mother's piercing eyes. Oh, well, I only did it because I felt the need to defend your honor when Kankuro Timi said he wanted to grope you, answered Yahiko with Conan, narrowing her eyes at him. For your sake you better not be lying, said Conan with her tone, telling Yahiko he was even deeper trouble if his words weren't true. I'm not, stated Yahiko frantically with Conan giving him the look that all children fear when it comes to their mothers wanting the truth. We will see, said Conan before dragging Yahiko before their host in outer heaven. I swear pranking is genetic in the Uzumaki clan, said Hinata from her position with Naruto smirking too at seeing Yahiko being dragged back. Maybe, though we did stress to our kids not to pranks anyone in the family. Everyone else is fair game, replied Naruto, knowing his kids from all his wives were like that too. I still wonder how they were able to dye Roshi's hair neon blue in broad daylight, said Hinata, as she remembered their eldest son Ichigo pranking the Jinchuriki, and Roshi was chasing him around while spewing lava at him. Roshi wondered the same thing too. B didn't show himself for a week after Kushina painted him in his sleep to look like a mime, said Naruto, knowing his little girl was a real hell-raiser. Oh, Kami, don't remind me. When Shikamaru came to visit, those two pranked him by showing Gaara pictures of him kissing Tamari. We had to use seals to restrain your friend from killing his future brother-in-law, said Hinata while the two of them laughed while recalling how Shikamaru ran like he never ran before in his life, from an enraged Gaara, while Tamari was chasing after her brother to keep him from killing Shikamaru.
Anko encourages them and the twins Minato and Jack with their actions. Not that I'm surprised since they have her wrapped around their fingers by bribing the woman with Dango to look the other way, explained Naruto with Hinata shaking her head.
You're one to talk. Enough ramen and you would say, what prank? Said Hinata with Naruto looking mockingly hurt. Oh, what about you, Hinata-chan? One cinnamon bun from them to you, and you're in a whole different dimension when they go about causing mayhem. Countered Naruto with Hinata, blushing.
Shut up, mumbled Hinata with Naruto chuckling at her.
Why? Because it's true, asked Naruto, knowing he had his wife dead to rights on the subject. Maybe, come on, let's go inside with the others. I want to see the pictures Anko took of Kankuro in a geisha clothing again, said Hinata with Naruto laughing. Me too, said Naruto before the two went to the main room where his family and friends were talking. Happy birthday, Naruto-kun, said Hinata with Naruto smiling and kissing her on the lips. Thanks, Hinata-chan. Being with you, my other wives, all of my children, and my friends I've made over the years is the best birthday I could ever ask for, replied Naruto with the cake being rolled out by B. Hey, it's B with the cake, and no, the icing isn't fake. No lady is going to rise, so all you ladies in the room don't despise, said B with everyone groaning at his rapping. You need to wish him to stop rapping, said Hinata with Naruto nodding. I've tried that already. That's the one wish I can get granted, said Naruto with a sigh.
Damn, whispered Hinata with Naruto chuckling. Agreed. Maybe I'll get lucky this time though, said Naruto before walking over to the cake with his children telling him to blow out the candles and make a wish.
Though, if he was honest with himself, Naruto had everything he needed and didn't want anything else. Then, oh, make Naruto's wish granted. Happy birthday, Naruto-kun, said Hinata with Naruto smiling and kissing her on the lips. Thanks, Hinata-chan. Being with you, my other wives, all of my children, and my friends I've made over the years is the best birthday I could ever ask for, replied Naruto with the cake being rolled out by B. Hey, it's B with the cake, and no, the icing isn't fake. No lady is going to rise, so all you ladies in the room don't despise, said B with everyone groaning at his rapping. You need to wish him to stop rapping, said Hinata with Naruto nodding. I've tried that already. That's the one wish I can get granted, said Naruto with a sigh.
Damn, whispered Hinata with Naruto chuckling. Agreed. Maybe I'll get lucky this time though, said Naruto before walking over to the cake with his children telling him to blow out the candles and make a wish. And decided to wishing for B to not rap. Just for the hell of it. So what did you wish for? Was it good or bad? Asked B before he looked shocked like everyone else that he wasn't rapping. He didn't rap, exclaimed Anko while pointing dramatically at B.
What the hell? I want to rap, damn it. I'm talking like a normal person. Ah, exclaimed B, falling to his knees and crying at the horror of his rapping career going down the drain. Holy crap, it's the end of the world, exclaimed Kankuro before jumping out the nearest window.
Your wish worked, Naruto-kun, whispered Hinata while seeing B begin weeping and Yugito doing a little dance. Yeah, just don't let B hear you say that or else you'll be turning my birthday into my funeral, Naruto whispered with Hinata letting out a giggle.
Why must the world be cruel and take my rapping away from me? Whimpered a now depressed B while Yugito danced around happily and throwing around flowers.
As for Kankuro, well, no one cared about Kankuro.